Awesome. Hello, friends. I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for taking time with you and your family to build with us tonight. This is exciting. This is one of the builds that we're most excited about, and there's a lot of people working real hard to get involved here. We have Lee Kackner, we have my son Noah, we have his wife Haley behind the screen. Can you guys say hi, or you able to do that?
Yeah, hey, hello everybody. We'll be the
Awesome.
ones that are helping answer or putting your questions up. So make sure you guys, if you have questions, put them up in the chat box.
Yeah, this whole build event is so much more than just building an airplane. We really want to take time to answer your questions, to have some fun with you, share some feedback. We love this time with you, building with you, and hopefully as time goes on in the future, we want to see you guys gathering as groups and building together as friends and family. So for all you guys building as friends and family, thank you so much. You're starting something real special, near and dear. And again, thank you for making time to build with us. Today we're going to be building the FT Tutor here. I got the Turbo Tutor in front of me. This is a fantastic 3-channel or 4-channel airplane. If you're not building along with us, don't worry. Just watch how we build. It's a great experience. This could be an airplane that could be your very first airplane. It flies fantastic as a 3-channel, also as a 4-channel, and it can grow into floats, and it can also grow into aerobatics like what we have with our Turbo Tutor here. For this build, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the wings. We're going to go through the complete whole airframe first, and then as time goes on here, we can go ahead and put the electronics in at the very end for if you guys want to hang around and do that, or if you have questions about that, we can answer it then. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to put this aside here. We're going to go ahead and start with the wings. First off, right here down on the table, I got my left and right wing panels. I also have my 2 main spars, and I have my little dihedral gauge right here. Let's go ahead and take our razor blade, and if you guys are looking for a really awesome razor blade, this is our new Flite test knife. The reason I love it so much is it detents in different angles and makes bevel cutting even easier here. One tip is I always like to dull the tip of the blade, and that way as it drags over, it will not cut through the far end. You can do this by simply dragging it on a piece of concrete or a cinder block and just dulling that tip. It works really, really well. Let's go ahead and take a minute or so, and let's go ahead and do a score cut on all these different areas here where we need to remove our foam. We're pretty good at multitasking here. If anyone has any questions, feel free to shoot them out. Our guys will handle those for you. A little score cut's real handy. You don't want to go down all the way through the paper, but if you do, a little piece of tape is all you need to fix it. I like to drag this through just to get as close to the paper as possible. And then that way, when we fold this out, it all comes out as one piece. The better job you do at clearing out your foam, the better the plane and the faster the plane's going to build for you. One more. And there we go. We got our score cuts done. Let's go ahead and start with the spars. Easy way to remove the foam is just to bend this over 180 degrees, just like you see here. And when you do that, yeah. Did we break the internet? Already? Yeah, I'm frozen. Are we crashed completely, or is it just our computers?
No, I think we're back up.
There we go. Are we back up? Or were we never gone in the first place?
It's hard to say.
Okay. Sorry, friends. If we lost internet connection for a second, I apologize. Right now, all we're doing is we're removing our foam channels. This is going to give us the ability to do our A folds, our B folds, and our C folds. So we just fold this over 180 degrees, and we simply roll out the foam, just like you see here. If it doesn't come out in one complete piece, don't worry. You can always take your razor blade, and you can scrape off the extra foam real easy. All right, we got our 2 spars done. Let's go ahead and go to our wing. Again, we're going to fold that over 180 degrees and just expose that foam. Just roll it out. There's one. And there's two. There we go. All right. Now that we have the foam exposed, let's just take our razor blade and we're going to pop out the channels that we need for our ailerons and our servos. Lee, we need to find a way to get people to share pictures of them building together. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think that once we figure out this whole how the whole process works, and we narrow it down and get a little bit more,
Yeah.
we could definitely. I'm sure there's an easy way.
I'm sure there is. If any of you guys have any ideas, let us know. All right, we have all of our holes cut out. We have our channels cleared out. Let's go ahead and make this easy on us. Let's go ahead and do our double bevel cuts now. To do our double bevel, if you have one of these knives here, they're real handy. Go ahead and move it to the first detent like you see here. We're going to fold this over 180 degrees. And the nice thing about that is this knife gives us the ability to kind of ride on this edge as you see here. It makes the angle of the hold of the knife real easy for us. And all we have to do is just make sure we don't cut down into the paper. So we're just going to go right along that edge. Make sure you use a nice sharp blade. There's one.
Hey Josh,
There's two.
there's somebody asking, what's the plane in front?
What's the plane down in front here? That is an intentional teaser here. That is affectionately called the FT Flurkin. That is coming out. Is it December 3rd, Lee?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's coming out December 3rd. We've been working like crazy on this thing. We took this project down to Missouri to finish it off, and we didn't sleep until we got it done. Imagine a flying wing combined with like a goblin-esque experience with tons of real estate like a spear, and that's what this is. It can go off of a B motor all the way up to a C, but we're even going to test it on a Power Pack F. We're pretty confident it'll fly on that too. It's an awesome flying experience. Great FPV platform, but also visually, there's not a single angle that doesn't look awesome. Maybe at the end of this video, we should pull the nose off and show them inside of that thing. We put a lot of heart on the inside of the airframe as we did on the outside. It's really kind of unique in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think that any teaser that we can do will be nice.
Deal.
I think they'll definitely enjoy it.
Hang around to the end of the build, and maybe we can do a little Q&A on that. I got a lot of coffee, and I just took a 5-hour energy, so I'm sure I'll be buzzing for a while. Had to counteract all that turkey in me. All right. So believe it or not, all of our prep work now for the wings is now done. We can start putting this together and fitting it. So the important thing, whenever you do your bevel cuts, make sure that you can bend your wing up at least 90 degrees without any resistance. If it's resisting down here, there's a good chance it's going to cause your wings to not fold over very nicely, and that'll give you some issues. If your wings look like this, you're good to go. Let's go ahead and put our attention towards our spars right now. Now you can see on our spars we have what we call an A-fold, and the A-fold is where the side plates are above the bottom plate. It's really important to make sure whenever it says A-fold or B-fold that you make it look exactly like how it's supposed to in the diagram. That's going to ensure that the plane's going to fit together properly. So before we do any glue, we always make sure that we do a dry test run and make sure that the pieces fit. Also, with pieces like this, it's incredibly important that we get them 90 degrees. If you guys don't have this, you can get all the different tools that we use in our Crafty Kit, either Crafty Kit Basics or the Crafty Kit, the full version. And in that one, we get the 300-watt glue gun. By the way, if you're using a 300-watt glue gun, is this the camera that's on?
We can put whatever camera you want on, buddy.
Awesome.
Hey, before you do that, just a quick shout out. Monica is on. She says that she's a 13-year-old that has been watching every video.
Monica, I love you. That is awesome. Do me a favor. Post pictures of some planes you built and stuff. We'd love to champion that. We'd love to celebrate that too. The David just walked in. Now it's a party.
The David is here. Hey, you want to say hello?
Hello, everybody. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Awesome, awesome. Man, that's awesome. Monica, you made my day. That's fantastic to hear. Friends, a lot of times when people build with models, they think the hotter the glue gun, the better it's going to work. That is not the case. I turn my glue gun all the way up when I'm working with woods, and I turn it down whenever I'm gap filling. If you have a 300 watt FT glue gun, turn your needle right to the middle or just below it. That's going to give you cooler temperatures. You can actually smear it with your fingers if you want without burning yourself too badly. But also, it doesn't really compromise your working time. It's a really good way to do it. When you turn it up hotter, oftentimes it will melt the glue. We love this gun because we can do plywood and then we can dial all the way back and even do things like EPS foam. But right in the middle here, right where it says medium or just below is the perfect setting. All right,
hey, Josh.
So, yes, sir.
Hey, just to let everybody know too, that glue gun along with our crafty kits,
yes,
are on sale right now. Our Black Friday sale include those, so check
yes.
those out on our store and get a good deal on both the 300 watt and the
basics,
the 80 watt, the basics.
Both fantastic deals. We want you guys building this Christmas and Thanksgiving. All right, so we got our test folds done. Let's go ahead and put some glue here. That looks fantastic. All right, first bead of glue going down. I'm going to pull back this guard. Whenever we do an A-fold, I like to focus the glue on the very bottom of the side plate and always start and stop about a ½ inch in from the edges. That's going to keep your glue from squeezing out too badly. All right, we could have everyone online singing "You Are My Sunshine," but we don't need to do that. Give yourself about 45 seconds to let this fully dry. Anytime you rush this, it can give you problems in the future. So just go ahead and take your time. Have a chat with your friends and family while you're doing it. And actually, I set the glue down tighter. It's dried already. So we're good to go. All right, test fit in the next piece here. If we ever need to worry about what square is, we can always take our triangle square right here, hold that up. Bead of glue right on the bottom of the side plate, keeping the side plate against the table. We're rolling that up 90 degrees, and we're going to hold it in place again.
Hey, Chief.
Yes, sir.
We got somebody asking about the name Tutor. Where did you get the name Tutor?
You know, if it was up to me, I would have called the FT Simple Trainer because I have no imagination, and my history in the previous days with naming plans like Baby Blender were terrible. The Tutor is a group effort, and it makes you laugh, but it's a great example of what the plane was really meant to be. It was meant to be a plane that teaches you from the beginning all the way up to wherever you want to go. So we called it the Tutor for that exact reason. Also, if you know, our passion is really into schools, and the FT Tutor is one of those planes that when you're in upper middle school, lower high school, this is a plane that can teach you all about flight, the principles of flight, get your skills up, but it's a great platform to modify and build different wings on, which is our FT STEM is all based around that. So the Tutor really seemed to be that perfect notion. Plus, we took all of my favorite trainers when I was a kid, the LT40, the Eagle 2, the Freedom 20, the Eagle, I'm sorry, not the Eagle 20, the Eagle 2, Freedom 20, LT40, Cadet Senorita, that was the other one. And we just mashed them together. We want this to be a plane that looks really good on the field, and if someone maybe from a flying club that's not familiar with flight test planes looks at it, they're like, I like the feeling of that plane, that feels familiar to me. So we put a lot of heart into the Tutor, just like we did with the Tiny Trainer and a lot of other trainers. All right, this one's dry. Let's go ahead and repeat the same process. Quick test fit. And we'll hold for, get it?
Hey, we can't hold for a question
because there are none.
Yeah. So we got Germany and Belgium and people
really?
from around the world.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm just thinking, what time is it? What time is it in some of these countries?
Isn't Germany like 8 hours from us?
It's gotta be, man. I mean, so it's
wow.
So 8 hours. What is that, like 3 o'clock in the morning or something?
Germany and Belgium.
Yeah,
wow.
Germany and Belgium. They're singing "You Are My Sunshine" on here too.
All right, I feel like that has to be Blue.
I ain't seen Blue yet.
Ever seen Blue? Blue's my favorite friend from Germany that I sing "You Are My Sunshine" with, and he has a great voice too, and some really good dance moves. Oh. All right, so we got both of our spars done. Let's go ahead and grab our wings, and we're going to do our C-folds now. Just like always, we're going to make sure everything fits. We're going to roll this down, and the C-fold is nothing but a 180-degree fold. And once we're happy with that, we can go ahead and we can place a bead of glue right on the very top here. I don't really worry about the paper too much. If you do put on the paper, keep in mind that the paper passes the heat very easily and it can burn you, so be careful with that.
Hey Josh, Casey's asking if there will be any electronics in this. So are we going to go
Are we going to cover electronics? Yeah, the nice thing about the Tutor is you can build this plane without any electronics put in. I think what we're going to do here is we're going to go through the whole entire process of the airframe. And then for people that know how to put electronics in, or maybe don't have electronics, they can go ahead and just chill and check out or ask questions. And then we're just going to organically put the electronics in and answer questions as you go. There's a lot of different nuances around hooking up servos and push rods, and it'd be really cool to do a Q&A during that time. So hang out till the end of the video and we'll do electronics. Matter of fact, no, I'm going to have to hunt down a receiver. We'll have to like scalp one from something to go up there. I got everything else though right here. So. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and do another C-fold, and then we can start putting our wing together here. There we go. And, oh, it's always a good idea to keep an extra glue stick. We have friends from Japan. Did I hear you correctly? Wow.
Yeah, we've got some from Indonesia,
Wow.
from England, from Japan, Belgrade, India, Australia.
You guys make me happy. That's
Costa Rica.
What a testimony, just what a worldwide community we have.
Oh,
That's
man.
so awesome.
Peru.
All right.
Romania.
Romania. Well, Robert's going to be happy.
Robert will be really happy.
All right. We have our C-folds. We have our spars done. Let's go ahead and start putting this together now. I'm going to go ahead and grab the wing. This is my right wing. So we'll grab our right wing. Both these spars are the exact same, so we don't have to worry about getting those wrong. What we want to do when we do our spars here is you're going to see some etch marks here, but you're also going to see the servo hole, and the servo hole on the wing is bigger. That's because we want the servo to kind of countersink in. We're just going to line this up with the etch marks. Just make sure we have that marked. Always do a practice fit before we do anything. And once we have that, we can flip this over and we can place our glue down. And then we'll just set that right down like that. A little wiggle back and forth is all you need. And I'm just going to line this right up with our etch marks, right at the edge, there and there. And then we'll just press and hold.
So, question about the Flirkin. Is that an actual plane or a fantasy plane?
You know what, the Flirkin to me, like the plane is literally designed around the vision of the name Flirkin. We wanted something that had gentle characteristics, spacey feel. I want it to look like a sports car, a spaceship, and an animal all smashed together. And obviously the name Flirkin comes from the Marvel cat that looked like a little innocent kitty, and it had like those crazy tentacles that, you know, swallowed the Tesseract. It's a fun name to say too, just like the Tutor. So the Flirkin's kind of like everything. We wanted to look like a spaceship. I frankly never designed an airplane like that. Normally I'm in the cartoony world. This is kind of sci-fi, and I'm a little bit addicted now, especially after seeing it fly. It is really, really amazing to see in the air. And it flies easy. This is something that if you're a beginner and you want to get your first wing, this could be your first wing. It's very gentle and easy to launch. You do not want to launch it like a football. You will chop your hands up. Wingtip launching with those big vertical stabilizers is super easy. And if you're ever concerned, you can always drop an aura in it. And we'll be vetting and making sure that the aura is tuned properly, you know, to fully endorse that. So I can't wait to show you guys the hatch release later. It's a really cool hatch release. All right, let's do this on the other wing here. If you're following along on the build video, I may be going a little bit outside the order of the build video. Forgive me for that. We're just trying to do things in the live build, and frankly, my mind leaks, so I just go by the order that feels comfortable. There we go. I'm excited about it. We should really consider doing a live build for the Flirkin.
Oh, we can do it. There's no doubt about it. As long as we have enough people that want it, and I think that there'll be
Well,
plenty of people.
Hats off to the people behind the computer screen. Yuli, Robert, Noah, Miss Haley. Miss Haley's been here since you have, about noon today, right? Workingly?
No.
No? Were you solo?
Yeah, I was solo for most of the
Little
day.
army of one.
Hey, so Danny Go Crazy, he's asking how much would this be with electronics? So, Danny, if you get on our store website, there's actually a getting started bundle for the Tutor, and which is on sale, by the way.
Yeah.
So you get on there, and it depends on which receiver and which transmitter that you choose, but they come in roughly around $300, actually a little bit under $300 for the whole kit and caboodle. So.
And the nice thing is once you get those basic electronics in that, those power packs, all of our airplanes are designed around common power packs, which means when you're done with the Tutor, you can take all those electronics and drop it into another plane based on the power pack that you choose. So, all right, let's go ahead and go to the next step here. We're going to go ahead and form the top surface of the wing now. You notice I didn't go ahead and carve down through here. All you simply need to do is take your thumbs, put it right where the spar is going to be, and give it a gentle roll up. And now as you roll that down, what you should see is the very top portion here is parallel to the table, and the back rear trailing edge will touch the table here. Make sure that you can easily fold this over and hold it into place without it resisting too much. If it resists too much, maybe consider cutting your bevel a little bit deeper. Once we practice folded that, I'm going to take the tip of my glue gun, I'm going to put a thin ribbon of glue right down inside that score cut, and then I'm going to repeat the exact same step I just did. We're going to fold it over 180 degrees. You know what I'm still stuck with, Lee? I'm just so thrilled that Monica's building.
Oh,
She made my day.
And it's kind of hard to see in with the screen names and everything, but I'm just wondering if there's other young ladies that are building as well, and older ladies.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we've obviously discovered with dealing with the FAA and everything, they're kind of out of the loop thinking that this is just a boy thing.
There's a notion with the FAA that's not connected to what our community really is, and there's a notion that it is a predominantly male thing, and there's not families and diversity involved. And what I love about our flight test community is that is exactly the picture of what we have. Whenever you go to flight test, you see whole families, and you see everyone flying and building, having fun. So whenever you guys, showcase that, it really helps us spread that message, and I can't thank you enough for doing it. We love people. Male, female, it doesn't matter. We love people. We want to see you building and having fun. We also wanted to show how incredible our community is, and you guys are a big driving force for that. All right, so we got our shape of our wing here. If you noticed, I held this over and I kind of kept patting up and down so I didn't accidentally glue it to my spar. And now the wing has its own form, just like that. We're ready to go ahead and glue our halves in. And for that, we're going to make sure we have plenty of hot glue. We're going to put one bead of glue right down the leading edge, another bead of glue right down the spars, and then finally, a bead of glue right on the trailing edge. You don't ever have to rush this too much. Right down to the table. And notice I'm always working with my palms and my hands spread. You don't want to be pushing down with the tips of your fingers or you're going to cause it to dent. Just nice even pressure, and I'm focusing all the pressure kind of really back on my palms. I'm keeping my fingertips, keeping the leading edge down, and then the trailing edge is pushed firmly against the table here. You don't have to put all your weight on there. Just make sure it sits right where it is, and then give yourself a good 45 seconds to fully let it dry. You out of here, David? Oh, no problem at all. Hey, thank you so much. Tell Nicole thank you too. All right.
Hey,
see you, brother.
Josh. So there's a question asked about the wings. Do the wings have to be thin?
Have to be thin.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they're meaning, but I mean.
I wonder if they mean airfoiled.
Maybe.
Ask them. Maybe they can help with another description of what they're talking about.
Another question is while we're waiting for that is where's it at? Love the planes, but they don't hold up to dew or snow well. Any product suggestions for like waterproofing, regular foam board?
Okay, waterproof and regular foam. But I was going to say, I'm wondering if he was building with Flite test foam. The brown Flite test foam is water resistant, and the stuff is amazing. I mean, we do our amphibious planes out of it. We have planes that are years old that are still in plain old brown, and they may be a little bit faded, but they hold up to water and snow extremely well. What I would recommend if you're using like the Adams Ready board, and by the way, Elmer's foam, Ross foam's too brittle, Elmer's is too heavy. So be really careful. Make sure it's Adams Ready board or Flite test foam. Your center of gravity and everything will work out. Adams Ready board's not waterproof, but what you can do is you can use a stuff called Minwax. And I think it's the Minwax, and it's the non-oil based Minwax. You can brush it on, and we have a video all about that. The other thing you can do is you can use a silicone stuff like Camp Dry. And that works really well, but make sure that your plane is all painted and all glued and everything you want to put on there is on there, because the second you put that Camp Dry on there, nothing else will stick. It's a silicone spray and it simply will not stick. So if you go back to try to paint it, or you try to glue something or do a repair or even put a piece of tape on it, it's going to fall right off on you. But Minwax is a really good solution. It does add a considerable amount of weight. If you're in the States and you have the ability to get Flite test foam, just get this brown stuff. It is amazing. It holds up really well. And again, we have planes that are years old, and it paints wonderfully too. Okay, that's one wing done. Let's go ahead and do the same process on the other side. Again, I'm going to put my thumbs right where the spars are. I'm going to grab the trailing edge, and I'm just going to gently rock that up, not forcing it, just kind of giving it a little bit of shape, and then I'm going to bring it right over and right down. Everything looks like it fits good there. Oops, caught my cord. Let's go ahead and put a thin bead of glue on both sides of that score cut. We'll go right down and see how I'm kind of bouncing that. The only thing I'm making sure is whenever I come down to the table, I'm making sure that area right over the spar is parallel with the table. That's incredibly important. There we go, and that's dry. And as we did before, check our hot glue guns. Plenty of glue in there. Right on the leading edge, right on the top of the spar. Then finally, right along the trailing edge. And then we're back down to the table.
Hey, our awesome Romanian that we have, Roberto.
Yeah?
Robert just said you guys are doing awesome, and I just want to give a shout out to Robert, and I know you want to as well, that helped make all of this possible. He's the brains behind all of the technical stuff. And
yeah, he does so much with the technical stuff, and just even the articles and the forums. Robert was the architect for that. So if you guys like what you experienced there, Robert's hands were all over that. I love having these webcams. I hope someday that these are mounted all over the place so we can do this more often.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Hey, where's it at? They're asking, when will the third part of the 16-foot monster plane be uploaded?
Hey, no, you want to answer that one?
That will be released tomorrow at 11:30.
And it's awesome.
11:30. You all heard it here. So if it's 11:31, make sure you get on there and comment that Noah is a big fat liar.
I might be, but I will get it. I will be there with the publish button. So just right when it turns 11:30, I will publish it.
You will too.
Yes, it will be. That was a fun project. That was a really fun project. There is something menacing about seeing that plane fly through the air, though, because of how big and how slow it is. It's crazy.
And I'm excited for people to see this this third video, because you guys put it to the limits. And it doesn't do everything that you wanted it to do.
We found the limits.
You found the limits. There's no doubt about that.
It has limits. Who would have thought, huh?
Right.
And you guys get to see how we found the limits. But it's a plane that's going to be around a long time. And I think even if we roll it into 1,000 pieces, it'll find its way back together. Spoiler alert. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Both of our wing halves are done. Let's go ahead and work on joining them. Now, there's a common notion with a lot of our airplanes, oh, don't put dihedral on it, it'll make it more sporty, more aerobatic. This plane needs a dihedral, and Lee can attest to this. We tried so many different angles of dihedral. There was a perfect dihedral, and that's what's on this little guy right here. So even if you want to fly this aerobatically, put a little bit of dihedral in it. It'll make it fly so much better. What we're going to do right now is we're going to meet both of our ends up, and I'm going to kind of push these together as tight as I can. I'm going to take a piece of tape here, and I'm going to lay it right over top.
Hey, we got some people asking about foam board, saying that it's not on the store, that we're out of stock on the store, and we're aware of that.
We are very
out of
much.
stock.
Yes.
Can you speak into that at all?
Yeah, we're very picky about our foam board, and we're not going to sell you foam board that's not as good as possible. And we had to pause that until we get it. So foam board will be back. I think end of Christmas is when it's going to be back in stock. So make sure you're ready for that when it comes back in. We have a whole truckload coming. So yeah, that's what's up with that. But we're sorry about that not being available right now. All right, so when we tape the bottom, when we flip it over 180 degrees, you're going to notice that there's a gap there, and that gap should fit perfectly with the amount of dihedral that we need, just like that. We want to make sure that we can take our little dihedral gauge and that we can clip it. And Noah, is that one camera able to capture where this is at right here? Perfect. We want to clip it right here, and that's going to give us the perfect amount of dihedral. And what dihedral is what gives the ability of the plane to self-right very gently. And the way it works is when one plane banks this way, this wing laterally has less wingspan than the one laying flat. So this one will generate more lift and it'll push it back level again. Dihedral is incredibly important. And if you're ever designing your own airplanes, don't neglect a little bit of dihedral. It's amazing how much better it makes it fly. Even our Flurkin, we played with dihedral on it and it was incredible. It's still aerobatic, but it's so smooth and stable. So dihedral is cool. All right, now that we have our dihedral gauge, we confirmed everything looks good. I'm going to open this up 180 degrees, and I'm going to put a nice healthy bead of glue right on the edge. Trying to favor that for the camera for you, Noah, I'm sorry. I have bad camera etiquette. And you can see with the glue gun, with the temperature dialed down, I can really put a nice thick bead on there and really control that glue. There we go. I'm going to set that flat on the table. I'm going to reach over and I'm going to grab myself a little scrap piece of foam. And what I like to do is I like to put a nice bead of glue right on the top. And then I'll come back with a squeegee of foam and I'll press it into place just like that. And keep in mind I'm scraping most of it off, but what that's going to do is going to put a nice thin film of glue on top, and when that dries it's going to be incredibly strong. Once this is fully cooled and nothing's tacky, we'll go over it with tape and reinforce it even more. Oop. Almost threw it in the wrong spot. Let's go ahead and give this a good minute, minute 15 to fully dry. We don't want to work with this until it's able to be touched without it being sticky. If you do that, it may loosen up the joint and cause weakness later.
So, hey Chief, we've got a question from Double Doot. I love that name. I used to call Gabe that. Doot Doot is what I used to call him. He says, is there a good RC simulator that you would recommend?
Yeah, there's a new flight simulator from Horizon. I believe it's $200, but it comes with a radio, which is pretty cool. So that effectively makes it a $100 simulator. Has lots of really cool features like online player and things like that that are really advanced. The Horizon one's good. I think we should do another episode on this, but Wings. Wings is amazing. It's affordable. It's fun. Wings is a game that's mostly based around FPV, but they do have line of sight as well. They also have a lot of flight test planes, and these guys are really, really cool. They did all of Flight Test's grounds, Edgewater Air Park, and what they did is where there are fairways, they actually put gates and stuff. So check out Wings. They're really good. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff with them, and I think they even added the Bloody Baron, and they're adding more flight test planes. Along with that, if you're into quads, our friends at Liftoff are doing amazing things as well too. Liftoff has been a partner for a long time. They have a lot of different skins now, and they're always upgrading and making it more advanced. So if you want to kind of get into the chase quad world or practice that kind of stuff, Liftoff is a really good solution. You won't be busting your quads constantly. You can feel how it's supposed to feel in a controlled environment, and then when you're testing and tuning, you know what you want to dial it to. A lot of times every airplane has a different personality, but generally quads, you got to almost learn what the right feel is to learn off of and then dial to that. So it's a little bit of a different world. Liftoff is a good way to do that. And it's winter time, it's cold. It's a perfect time for simulator, so great question.
And as you were talking through there were some some of the people in here were giving some other ideas
Awesome.
of simulators.
Love it.
But there's a very important question that popped up,
Yeah.
and it is this: how many tutors have you made?
We should have numbered them.
We should have.
I don't want to
numbered
lie to you guys, but I think we're well over 25 tutors.
them. Oh,
I think that was just for the R&D part of it. We built.
yeah.
There were so many tutors. This place,
What do you think?
Stefan was going out of his mind because the amount of potty humor
Probably
going on was
closer.
terrible.
Yeah, I would say between 25 and 50.
Yeah,
I
easily.
mean, it's crazy.
This plane was a little bit of a challenge because we would find one little tendency because we wanted this to be the ultimate trainer. We'd find one little thing that we didn't like about it, and we're like, no, we got to dial that out. Or maybe it flew great as a 3-channel, but we didn't like the adverse yaw as a 4-channel, so we wouldn't move it to production. What did I say? No, was this like a year and a half in the works or a year in the works?
Wait.
You've been working on this for a solid year and a half.
Yeah.
Let's just say there was many tutors. Well, it wasn't even called the tutor back then.
Yeah, we just
was
called it
the
simple
plane
trainer.
that you were working on, but there was many of them just scattered around the house there.
You should see my basement. It was just littered with them. So, all right. So I put a piece of tape right on the center section here, and you'll notice now when I pull this out, the wingtip doesn't drop. Something funny.
Josh is tooting all over the place, it says.
Oh, if they only knew how true that was. There's a little bit of kid in all of us. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut this hole out real quick here. Now, if y'all are beginners and this is your first plane that you're building, you don't need to cut these ailerons in. You can leave the wing just as it is. I frankly think this is one of our best flying 3-channel airplanes we have out there. It is so coordinated, and we always make sure we test fly it and fly it as a 3-channel before we call it a trainer. 3-channel just means that when you use your rudder as an aileron, it's going to turn you, but it's going to turn you coordinated. And Lee, I think you were there during that test day. It was amazing. I mean, we hit that out of the park first flight.
Oh, I was there
Yeah.
during the test, but
Yeah.
I'm more or less your test crash dummy. Because you say things like, yeah, we found this wrong and found
There's
that
a we
right.
involved.
If it were up to me, I think after the first time I flew it, I was ready to say,
Sign off.
sign off,
Well-
let's go. But there were many versions after that.
We should give a shout out to Reed too. So we have we have a lot of people come out every Thursday and Friday night. The Flite crew, but also Joe Main and his group from the church, and then a lot of people locally. And there's a young man named Reed, and I hope you're watching. But he was coming out and he played golf at Edgewater, and then he was coming out with his family and his friends and flying. And I'd be out here, and he'd just show up because he was weed whipping for us. And I was like, hey, fly this. And he was kind of my tester for me too. And by the time he was done testing, do you remember he put that crazy big motor on the one beta version that we gave him?
Oh,
and he's
yeah, that
just
thing was
tearing
huge.
up the sky. So, by the way, Reed, your one-wheel parts are in, so let your mom know.
Hey, how does the Tutor compare to the Simple Scout? Guy says here that his favorite go-to bird of FT is a Simple Scout, but how does the Tutor compare?
They
to
are, yeah, I love them both. So the Simple Scout is my go-to to this day. I'm turning on the Tutor now. It's a fantastic experience. It doesn't tip over like the Simple Cub did. The neat thing with the Simple Scout is the FPV experience you get with it as well. The Tutor can grow a little bit beyond it with 3D capabilities because we have that different wing that fastens on. But as far as ease of flight, they are both neck and neck. The Simple Cub was good, but it wasn't great in my opinion. I learned a lot from them. So I'm really hoping that people are choosing their first airplane in this size. They pick either the Tutor or the Simple Scout. Nothing wrong with the Cub. The Cub's great, but I like those two more. So I would say they're neck and neck. The Scout just can't take a 3D aerobatic wing. Yeah, great question. Also, off the water, they are identical in performance in regards to how they handle and stuff. Guess what, friends? Our wing is all done here. I'm going to not cut the ailerons in quite yet. We're going to save that until the end of the video when we put that in here. And if you're a beginner, if you're looking to have this fly for the very first time, don't cut your ailerons in. Save that for later. You can always do it for later. Try it as a 3-channel first. It'll be such a great experience for you. I promise you that. If you are putting an FT Aura in there, ailerons are really, really good because level assist works even better with ailerons than rudder. Let's go and put this aside and get the pieces for our fuselage.
So the wing of the Tutor,
Yeah.
is it the same size as the wing for the Bushwhacker?
I don't know. I have no clue. We don't have a bushwhacker here. It's bigger than the Cub. It's skinnier than the Scout, but about the same wingspan. I don't know if it's comparable to the Bushwhacker. That's a great question. We should have looked into that. But it's bigger than the Cub. Haley's hanging ornaments in the background.
And we're trying to yell at her because she's being loud.
It brings the Christmas cheer, though.
Yes.
All right.
How many, so this is not a question for you, Josh. It's a question for everybody out there. Like, how many of y'all out there are not building? You're just tuning in for the build. And as I'm asking that, if you're out there and you're tuning in just for the build, which is awesome, if you want to go to the store, the Tutor kits are on sale. And you know what? Hey, Josh, what do you think about doing just a flash sale on the Tutor kit for the next few minutes?
You got a picture for it, right? You got the little banner? There it is.
The banner for flash sale. So what do you want to do? I'm right here right now. What do you want to put? So we have them on the store for $39.99. What do you want?
$39.99.
Yeah.
Let's knock it down. I don't know, what is it? 12%. Let's knock off $5.
$5?
Yeah.
So that's $34.99.
$34.99.
$34.99 on sale right
where's the rest
now.
of my pieces? Oh, there they are, right there.
Boom. There it is for the next. We'll say next 20 minutes. See what happens. Tis the season, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I love it.
I can't do math in my head. I think that's like 12%. All right, friends, if you're building along with me, I'm just taking my time, cutting out all my pieces here.
We've got people asking too, how long does it take to ship to, if they buy something online, how long does it take to ship to their house? So, I mean, obviously that's going to depend upon, where they live.
Yes, I think the cutoff for Christmas presents is, is my wife here? I think it's the 15th.
Your wife is here. She's in the other room.
Awesome. I love my wife. She's so cool.
She is pretty cool.
The
She has to
15th,
be.
the 15th is, I believe, the cutoff. Jen, is that correct?
They left.
Oh, they left. She's working in manufacturing. I think they're actually getting ahead on shipping.
Yeah.
I believe the 15th is the cutoff date. These next couple days, we have all the crew going over to help ship. So that way, everyone that ordered, and thank you, by the way, for your support. It is going nuts on our store right now. We're going to get those out and caught up really quickly. But typically, Monday, we're caught up from the weekend. And then by end of day Monday, they're shipped almost all the way through, almost all the time. And then they're same day. So we don't ship Saturday and Sunday, but we ship Monday through Friday. And typically, it's same day up till, I believe, 3 o'clock. So don't hold me to that. Christmas is crazy. One thing I need you guys to give us a little bit of grace on is with the U.S. Postal Service. We have some difficulty sometimes with them honoring the deadlines they give with priority and stuff like that. FedEx has been really good for us. UPS has been really good for us. USPS has not been the best for us, and I know they're busy. But they'll say guaranteed in 3 days. Sometimes it takes 4 or 5, but you'll notice the tracking numbers are always incredibly timely from us. So, we have an awesome shipping team and manufacturing team. They don't get enough love for that, and they're fantastic. All right, so I got my main pieces here for my fuselage, and hopefully you do too. I'm going to kind of lay these out in general, and then we're going to go ahead and weed these out, and then go ahead and make your pieces look just like mine before we move on. Same thing as before. I'm just going to go ahead, follow over all my score cuts to make the foam easier to remove. Really handy thing especially with a knife like what I have in my hand, is you can have one blade where the tip is dulled, and then you can flip it 180 degrees, and then you can simply use that to cut all the way through if you need. You know, my biggest fear, Lee, is that I'm going to make the wrong step.
Well, if you make a wrong step, there was a wise man once told me that it's just foam board and glue. You can fix it.
I'll show you how to fix it.
Right.
Or we'll just make our flash sail a little bit longer. All right. I think that's, we gotta get these pieces. So if you all build the Tutor, one really cool thing about this is pretty much you've learned every technique of every plane I've designed, which means you can build anything I've designed. Some take longer, some take shorter, but A-fold, B-fold, C-fold, single and double bevel cuts are pretty much what it takes to build all, 70 plus planes out there. Our good friend John Overstreet, he designs what they call the Master Series, and we affectionately say those mold together where mine fold together. So I'm kind of like flying origami, and his are like flying works of art. There's that.
How you doing on coffee up there, Chief?
Doing great. Doing really good.
Yeah.
I don't know where my time is. I hope I'm being respectful of people's time.
Oh, you're only 45 minutes into it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, we got plenty of time.
Oh, good.
Hey, Mickey Barron's asking about any plans for us to do a DLG kit.
That's a great question. There is a glider that I'm absolutely in love with from my childhood called the pterodactyl. I'm sorry, not the pterodactyl, that's a different one. Leprechaun. I love the Leprechaun, and I want to make a foam board variant of that. It was a old-timer glider that is just beautiful to look at. 2 favorite gliders, well, 3, okay, 4. Gentle lady, sophisticated lady, and then you have the bird of time, and then you have the, I believe it's the Leprechaun. I'd like to recreate some of those older planes in foam board. The Simple Soar was actually, Lee, you remember this, but I designed the Simple Soar to be DLG and I made it a V-tail. But you whip that sucker too hard and the tail kind of does this and doesn't hold up. There is a gentleman, I believe on our forums, that has designed a DLG out of foam board and did a fantastic job. I forget his name and I'm sorry for that. But maybe someday we'll do that. Okay, I'm just double checking to make sure I don't want to do anything wrong here. Let's go over component identification and then we'll go ahead and start folding things together. Also, I'm just going to take my little dihedral gauge. Actually, this one's better. I'm just going to take a scrap piece of foam because we have a lot of foldovers in this plane. And I don't want to, I don't want to burn my hands. I don't want you guys to burn your hands. So keep this handy, get a scrap piece handy. First, we have our main fuselage that you see here. We have our 2 doublers that you see here. We also have our tail doublers. And you don't have to worry about these being left or right. The exact same pieces. The servos actually shift on both sides properly, so you don't have to worry about getting that wrong. Before we go on, I'm going to take you can take either the ruler or a triangle, and I'm going to hold this right over the score line right here. And I'm just going to very gently lift up. And what I want to do is I want to establish the bend, and with the laser cut kit, the score line will naturally let that happen, just like that. We don't want to have to fight anything on this airplane. And it's really important that we kind of tell it where we want it to go before we go. Okay, now that we have that, let's go ahead and, oh, I almost did this wrong. Let's go ahead and do our foldovers. Our 2 foldovers are here and here. So I got just enough hot glue here. To do a foldover, I'm going to start and stop my glue right from the edge. And typically I say use a table as your friend. For this, we can't do that, so we're just going to go up 90 degrees. I'm going to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm going to go ahead and fold it over the rest of the 180, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull this towards me with a nice even pull. And you're going to see it acts kind of like a paintbrush, and it pulls that hot glue out, and it gives you the ability to get a nice sealed edge. As you practice this, you're going to find out exactly how much glue you need to put down to kind of get just to the edge, but not too much waste. Same on the other side here. Right down. Again, we're starting and stopping just a little bit from the edge. Up 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Go right down to the table, hold that, and just like a paintbrush, we're going to fold that over. One last one. Right on the nose. Again, we're going up 90 degrees. Then fold it over 180. There's a little bit of wiggle. And there we are. Now with those foldovers done, let's go ahead and position our doublers. And you're going to notice that we have a couple extra doublers here that you can slide out. This plane can be a tail dragger, it can have a nose gear or be a tricycle gear, I should say. It can also take floats for you as well. If you're going to do the floats, go ahead and cut out this rear piece right now that you see here. For this one, we're going to do affectionately what my favorite conversion is, and that's going to be the tail dragger with the big monster tires. That flies so nice. So it's a great plane. We're going to line it right on the edge marks. We're just going to make sure that we have it within the edge marks all the way around. And that looks good. Nice thing about test fitting pieces, you automatically know where to put the glue when you do that.
Hey, Bob, Josh.
Yes, sir. Bob?
No. Peter here says that you're the Bob Ross of model building.
That means a lot, man. Two of my favorite people is Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers.
There you go. Hey, Richard Joy's asking, what happened to the A doublers?
The A doublers.
I don't know. He has A in quotation marks.
I don't know. Give me some more description. Is that with the tutor?
I'm guessing so. So,
yeah, help me
hey,
out with
while
that.
you're thinking about that, the question has come up multiple times, and instead of ignoring it 100 other times, can you speak in very briefly to the free build plans?
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I know. It always comes up.
It comes up. Friends, we had a hard reality with people unfortunately not honoring what we were asking them to do, and that was using the build plans for personal use, for getting in the hobby, if they didn't have the means to buy a kit, we wanted them to still get in the air and we wanted them to fly. Unfortunately, what happened was there was a lot of people with laser cutters. Something funny just happened.
Hey, Father.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Is my zipper down?
No. I see what he's saying now.
You forgot a doubler.
Ah, snap!
It
happened! It happened! Oh, man. Crud. Fire up the laser.
I love it.
My worst fear happened.
That's all right.
All right, everybody on the internet, stop.
No,
Stop.
Yeah. Well, so that's the question he was saying.
He was trying to save my life. I was building a simple cup in my heart. Oh, my golly.
Everybody is cracking up right now.
Yeah, well, there goes the whole Bob Ross reference, huh? There's no happy accident
happy
about this one.
accident there.
Oh, my golly, gee willikers.
I love it.
I knew this was going to happen today.
Hey, man, I tell you what, they are coming to your defense.
To my defense? All right, well, we're going to show you. We can
you
solve
see,
it.
He's human after all.
Yeah, I'm human, all right.
That's right. David said it'll grow back.
It'll grow back. That's okay. We're gonna do a live fix on this, and it'll be good as wrinkled in a second. I did a really good job gluing these down.
I know, man. So, but this is the best part because this is what happens.
All right, this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, go ahead.
This is what happens because people make these mistakes and then they're trying to figure out how to fix them. You made a mistake right in front of them, and then you're gonna show them how to fix. Because at the end of the day, I guarantee that you're not gonna be able to see it.
No, you're not. But boy, now you know what my son has to deal with whenever I do build videos in the back production suite. Oh my golly, I forgot. I love it. You guys I was in the middle of this deep explanation. No,
But here's the thing, I guess too, like that question keeps coming up over and over and over again about the
I can address that. And Lee, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
People are not going to be able to see this. This is salvageable. The only thing hurt is my ego. And oh my golly. So what I'm doing on this one is I'm just going to cut this out. Because we don't need the paper, because we have the big doubler that's going to kind of seal that. I'm just going to cut this right here. Ah. My ears are burning right now. It's getting hot in here. All right, so about the free build plans. Unfortunately, I got to at least stall for a minute here. Unfortunately, there are people that were not using them for personal use, but what they were doing is they were cutting them out with their personal lasers. And this ranged from in the U.S. to China to India, all over. And we knew that was going on, and we were, it was frustrating. But what was the real hard thing is when people started calling us for tech support or giving us a lot of grief about terribly cut kits or inadequate, information. And then as we were getting pictures from them, like, that's not our kit. And then we were finding out that these people were proactively just pointing them towards us to make it right. And we gave them all the tech support help. But just imagine there's a person that spends money with what they thought was Flite Test. They didn't get a Flite Test kit. They went to Flite Test, found out that they got the bad kit. We still helped them. How do you make that right? So because of that, we had to make some hard choices. And that was to stop doing it. Now, we still are releasing free plans as perks for the FTCA. And please don't join the FTCA just for that perk. That we're doing so much more. We're going to the FAA. We're advocating for the hobby. But that is a thank you as a perk. And not every plan is going to be released. A lot of people ask about Master Series from John. That's a partnership. We're not going to be releasing John's plan. So those are only available as speedboat kits. And those planes, you don't want to have to hand cut them because the lasers have to do such a fine cut to make everything shingle properly, and there's so many pieces, you're not going to get the same quality build if you scratch build it. You need to laser cut it, and we can't give you the files. So hope that answers it. Yeah. Sadly, people ruined a good thing. And it breaks my heart.
People did ruin that good thing, and it stinks. And one of the things that we have talked about, and I've addressed multiple times in emails and stuff that we've gotten, is you did great.
I hope I didn't ruin anybody's planes. Oh my golly!
Oh, so no, if you're building along with him and he just totally messed you up, send a picture of it in.
Yeah.
Oh man! But anyways, the kits and everything are. We still have a ton of
there's the doublers.
The double. I think so. That's what he was meaning by the A doublers. The kits are still out there. We have kits, and what's the best way to make a kit is to buy one and then trace
out the
it,
pieces.
Right?
Yeah, this is a pattern. This right here is a pattern. If you want a kit for life or a plans for life, just get a kit and trace it out. Where I really feel for it is there are so many people in our community worldwide, and there's countries where it is very difficult, both with shipping, with the means to get in the hobby, and we want everyone to get in the hobby. But we have upwards of 60 plus kits that are out there with free plans already, and
all that is
those haven't changed.
Yeah, and you can find those in the resources, and I think that that's the misperception that is out there, because people are griping about not having free plans, but there's still free plans out there.
Yeah.
And there's plenty to build from. And so when you are for putting out the free plans, and the idea behind the free plans was not necessarily the plans themselves, but it was to teach people how to build, because ultimately you want them to be designing their own, right? I mean, that's what it's really all about.
Yeah. This whole thing started with a ministry. And that ministry was get people connect through RC Flite. And Lee, you remember that because you were there from the beginning. But we found very quickly people either had time but not the means, or the means but not the time. So we had to address both of that, but we still had to keep it economical. So when people crashed it, they weren't like, forget this hobby. We didn't want it to be a sore subject. So that's when the plans and the speedboat kits really came to life. If you had more time than finances, go to the Dollar General, buy $3 of Adams Ready board, and build along using these free plans. If you can't take 6, 7, 8 hours to print everything out, tape it together, cut the pieces out, and build it, then get a speedboat kit. We wanted to address all the hurdles that people had, and it just breaks my heart that it kind of went the other direction, where literally some of the loudest people criticizing the whole lack of free plans, when we dig deeper to find out more about them, they're bragging about how many planes they're cutting out, for their friends and selling. I mean, they're bragging about it, and it breaks my heart, because those are the people that ruined it.
Well, yeah.
And, there's a good podcast that we did to address that. By the way, this is the A doubler. Thank you guys for being more on top of the build than I am. I was wondering, why is that etch mark not on the top? It must have been light. Nope, that's perfect.
Yeah, so if people want to see the plans themselves that are still out there, if you just go to our forums page and click on the banner up the top or the bar up the top that says resources, there's all the free plans are there.
Oh, there's tons.
So they are there.
Yeah.
And another, this gamer guy just said, what's the name of the podcast? So the podcast in which he's referring to is just the podcast in which we do. I don't know what number it is. I want to say it's like 220, 219 or something like that. I have to find out. But you do. I think you do a spectacular job in that, explaining all of that.
Yeah. There's almost some tears in that podcast. All right, we got our A doublers down. All right, let's go ahead and do the next one.
All right, hey Jesse, I think you ask this question just about every time we have a a live thing here. The B-17 will be someday in a kit.
Yes.
When will it be? I don't know yet. Because
that's a John
that's
question.
Gonna be, what's that?
That's a John question.
That is definitely a John question. I mean, feel free to keep asking, but we don't have an answer. And I can tell you this, knowing what is coming up in the next few months, the B-17 is not one of the ones that are on the docket for that. So not within the next 6 months at least.
Yeah, and that plane, that was good for a one-off, but John puts a lot of pride in making sure the build experience is good. And that was the version 1 prototype. You don't want to build that one.
Hey, Richard Joy is the one. He's actually the one that's been helping you build your plane.
Thank you, Richard, by the way.
He just asked.
Saved my life.
Aren't you supposed to remove the?
I'm doing it on this side. Normally,
Okay.
you do it on the big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He must have watched the build video. Hey,
Oh, I would
maybe
say
that's
he
what
did.
you need to do. Do you need to watch the build video?
You know what? I was gonna come in early and just dry build one just to make sure, and I was like, no, I got this. And then I realized I don't. So yeah, normally you take it off of a doubler, I believe, Richard, in the build video. But I figured since I mingled this piece so much, I might as well just go ahead and remove this piece. As long as you remove a piece of foam to make it a little bit skinnier, you're okay. Well, it's wrinkly, but it'll work.
Oh, character.
Character. All right, friends. We're gonna put a bead of glue down. Got a burr on this. This glue stick's giving me problems. All right, we're gonna go right over top of these notches. And like Lee said earlier, yeah, at the end of the day, we're not gonna even see this, but boy, oh boy. This is something, Lee, I'd like to kind of go back when we have time to the Scout and the Simple Cub and put a doubler inside there, and then this wooden reinforcement, because it's fantastic.
So when you do that, should we have another live build so you
I think
can?
so. I don't think we've ever done a live build with the Scout. That would be a really fun one,
Okay.
because it's just so capable.
Well, I think the next two live builds has got to be the Flurkin and the Legacy. Well, the Legacy first, and then the Flurkin.
The Legacy should be a two-parter. That will not be a 2-hour build for sure, though.
Well, maybe we do. Yeah, maybe we can do a 2-parter
Yeah,
or a marathon. Depends what people want.
there you go. I'm just thinking, okay, I messed up on this one.
You know what? I'm glad that you messed up. Not just to, not to that you're to embarrass you or anything. Not that you're embarrassed, but just to show the reality behind it.
Well,
And your greatest fear coming true.
yeah, and I'm still alive.
And you
haven't been fired yet.
No.
But No, you know what? I just hope I didn't ruin anyone's build as they're following along.
I think that you'll be all right. Hey, they're asking about the Freedom Fox. Whatever happened to the Freedom Fox?
Great question. We have approximately 250 Freedom Foxes, maybe a little less because we had some samples done. In my office, we have a version 2 sitting there, and the paint job has all been fixed. There was a lot of quality issues with the early paint job, packing issues, and also the feedback is that you guys wanted more power. Scale is good, but power is great, and they wanted more of a timber experience with crazy vertical. We went from a 2212 1200 kV motor to a 2814 motor swinging an 11-inch prop, and we fixed all the paint issues. We fixed, there was a material on the landing gear that made it a little bit stronger. I'm trying to remember all things we did. Stronger landing gear wire. We have about 250 version 2 Freedom Foxes that were supposed to be over all the way back around Flite Fest. With the container shortages and the prices, it would add about $100 per Freedom Fox, we can only fit about 200 of those on a container, maybe a little bit more. So we're in a pickle because we can't ship them over economically enough to get them to you. So we're just kind of sitting in wait, unfortunately. Not sure. We want to make sure that we've addressed that before we do more than 250. So when we do finally get those in, we'll see how you guys like that. And if everyone's happy, then we'll continue moving forward. But we're not going to, this thing is not only honoring, just the love of stall aircraft, but it's also our good friend Trent Palmer. We want to do him right, and we want to represent his plane right. So your feedback was so important, and we learned so much with the first round. But that's basically it. They're all sitting there waiting to come over. We just can't afford to bring them over and then not make the airplane just ridiculously too expensive. I think that's probably a common story with a lot of people. I'm about ready to pull this glue stick out. I thought it looked a little funny when I put it in.
So Ben Harrison, or I'm sorry, Harrison, asked, have you ever thought about using vinyl to wrap the wing?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. The downside is the weight. The weight of the vinyl, at least the stuff we have from Oracle, is incredibly heavy. So that's one reason why we don't do it. We do a lot of decals with it, though.
Yeah, I've got to agree with Magical Frame 9. He says that you are unfireable, and if you left Flite Test, it would never be the same. I totally agree with that. We talk about that all the time because Josh, like it or not, he bleeds Flite Test. He's the heart and soul of everything in which we do here.
I love you for saying that, and thank you for the kind words. My heart is that as soon as possible, I want Flite Test to be a movement, not about just the show, but about what we do and what you guys do in people's lives. My heart would be that when people talk about Flite Test, they talk about the community first, and then the knuckleheads behind the camera, including me, second. But thank you for the kind words. There's a group effort and a team effort, people in front of the screen, but also behind the scenes that make everything that we do possible. And can't thank them enough for that. This company is definitely blessed with a great community and just blessed with great growth. And we don't want to ever compromise that through compromising our values.
So okay. Ben Harbor, hey shout
Ben.
Out to Ben. He says that I talk about firing you all the time. And he put a laughing face. He gets it. But no, I don't have that ability to fire Josh. Oh, my job is to fire up Josh. And
you do a good job.
So all right. We get more of these awesome builds.
So friends, we're putting our doublers on the tail right here, and you're going to see the etch marks right on the fuselage. All you have to do is line it up. Do a test fit first is all you need.
Also, people are asking about podcasts. If you all want to listen to our podcasts, if you have Google, it's on Google Play. If you have Apple, it's on iTunes. Just look up Flite Test, and you'll be able to subscribe to it. And we do a podcast every week. I think we've been pretty good about doing one every week for the last few months
you're keeping
now.
us on schedule.
Yeah.
And it's not the typical, if you're thinking you're only going to come in and hear us talking about our love of planes, That is some of it. We talk
Some of
about what happened, during our shoot and the failures and successes, and we talk about ourselves personally and our families, and then we also talk about what are our plans for the future and what we're working on. So it's a lot more about the team here, our families. What do you call it? Planes, plans, and problems, right?
Planes, plans, and problems.
That's a good way to say it. I'm just taking my good sweet time and second guessing everything now. All right.
You
Let's go ahead
take
and
your
pause
time.
here.
You do your thing there.
If your plane looks like mine, first of all, I'm sorry. But what we have here is we have two doublers in the front. We have our servo doublers in the back. We've already established that we have our bends here. This has a score cut, so we're going to be able to bend that backwards to fold it. Our next step here is we're going to go ahead and go up 90 degrees. I strongly recommend have something that can give you a perfect right angle. You don't want to squeeze this in too tight, because if you do, it's just not going to fit well when you put the bottom plate on. So let's go ahead and do a quick test fit here. That looks really good. It's going to be a little squirt of glue right underneath here. There we go. And for this, we only want to focus our glue, and we only want to glue this portion down right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bead of glue, starting and stopping from the one edge. And this is a B-fold, which means the bottom plate is going to be beside the side plate. And I'm just going to go ahead and favor a little bead of glue, stopping about a ½ inch from the edge there. Now we can go up 90 degrees. And I'm going to use my triangle right here. When you were laughing, Noah, I really thought my zipper was down.
Luckily, the plane mostly hides
Block it.
the zipper.
We wouldn't have
That's
told
my
you.
second biggest fear.
Yeah, we wouldn't have told you about that. We would have just let that one roll.
All right. That glue's dry. Let's go ahead and do a quick test fit on the other side. Whenever we're doing a B-fold, keep the bottom plate firmly against the table and rotate up 90 degrees while pressing down. If you don't see it firmly against the table flat on the side, that means you have a little bit of foam in there. Make sure you get rid of that, or else your fuselage will be twisted. We can get that nice and 90 here. Still got plenty of glue in my glue gun. I'm going to concentrate one bead of glue right on the top of the doubler.
Hey,
right on the side of the other one. Yes, sir.
Garrett March is asking where can you find the build plans for the flying battleship?
Those, oh my God, I'll have to go back to the video. I thought we released the 6-foot, just the patterns we used. I think those would be on the resources. We'll have to go on the video and see where those were. And hopefully they were released. Don't build a 17-foot one. It didn't fly good. Build the small one. There we go. Now, if you use the table as your friend well, you're going to have a nice 90-degree edge, nice sharp corners here. Our next step is we're going to fold this over 180 degrees, and I'm also going to go ahead and bend this, and we're going to do this in 2 steps here. The first step is going to bring it down to this portion, and then we're going to fold it up, and we're going to do the same process on this portion. So we just want to make sure that we're using our fingers and holding it right how it needs to be. Once we have that motion down, I'm going to come back with a little bit of glue. You know what I'm going to do too? This is kind of a nice cheat code. Thin bead of glue right on the top here. Close that down in, and then just pinch them with my fingers. And the reason I kind of put that glue on both seams is now I can seal off my edges very nicely, just like that. Now with this down, we can take it to the edge of the table, use the table as our friend. And anytime we have it where we could potentially glue our plane down, just give it about 5-10 seconds, a little bit of movement, and hop in its place. That's going to keep you from accidentally gluing your plane to the table. It's going to give you a beautiful seam. Let's go ahead and do it one more time.
Hey, one thing, so LC Aviator says, one thing I appreciate about your designs is even if you or even if the build quality is lackluster, they still fly fantastic.
Brother, thank him for me. He made my day. We call it building ugly. We want everyone to be able to have a good experience flying, and oftentimes you'll notice with my designs, they're a little exaggerated in their features. So if the tail's crooked or whatever, it still should fly good. That's our heart. We want people to have success, and then as the flying goes and the crashing goes, the build skills improve. So man, thank you so much for saying that. That's exactly what we want people to experience. Now, don't do what I'm doing unless you have the temperature turned down, or you will burn your fingers. I just like to kind of smear that out, and now I can go to the table.
You have calluses on your fingers after all these years.
From the paint shop to now, yeah, I do. There we go. You guys can't see this. I'm just taking this to the edge of the table and letting the end hang over.
Oh, so someone's asking, are there any plans to go to the Red Bull Flute again?
Unfortunately, our heart right now is in obviously growing the community, but it's also growing STEM. And for 2021, going into 2022, we are putting everything we have with spare time into our STEM program. And if you guys aren't familiar with it, it's incredible. We have two amazing gentlemen that are teachers, award-winning teachers for that, Jake Marshall and Trevor Sill, along with his wife, Crystal. Crystal, I'm not going to forget you. We have everything from high-level education to home-based educators all represented between those three individuals, and they're incredible. We want to see aviation go into schools, and we want to see it approachable. We want to see kids get passionate about flight, bring that passion home, and then enjoy it with their families. And hopefully, if God puts it in your heart that you want to make a career path out of that, we want you to do that. So that is right now what's in my heart. That's what's in our team's heart. And we are going to be putting 110% into that to bring success to that. So that means, unfortunately, not as many extra trips like Red Bull Flute and things like that. Not saying it won't be in the future, but we're going to make sure we knock the STEM out of the park before we kind of divide those attentions. We're a small team, aren't we, Lee?
Yeah, we are a small team, but I think that you hit the nail on the head with the STEM. So let me ask you this, Josh. I mean, I know the answer, but just to let everybody else know, what is your thought process behind igniting our line in the STEM and our ambition for the STEM?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what STEM is not. STEM is not building an airplane, flying an airplane, and getting a grade. STEM is falling in love with the design process, the building process, solving problems through flight. So our mind is to make sure it's approachable. Our first thing is our easy line, and that's where kids as young as upper elementary school are getting into full-blown radio-controlled airplane, and they're using our easy line, which is basically 2 motors, a control board, and a very easy-to-assemble airplane. Those airplanes teach them about how a canard configuration works, how a swept-back wing works, how an annular wing works. It teaches them different design principles. And from the point when they fly and they realize how those planes fly and the characteristics, we also then include a little bit extra material along with the curriculum that's been written, and then they get to design their own. So they're taking what they learn and they're immediately pouring into a new design of their own line and their own making. So kids aren't just building and flying and getting a grade or playing with a gimmicky toy. They're literally learning how an elevator works, how a wing works, how different configurations work, and then they're learning to apply that knowledge.
Sorry, online there, I just knocked over the mic.
By the way, if you're following along with me, I just did a bevel cut on the front windshield. Just a 45 is all you need. We want to take this down and make sure it fits nice and flush against the top piece right here. And then once you're happy with that, we'll go ahead and put a bead of glue on the doublers, on the bevel cut, and on the outer surface to lock it in.
So a lot of the heart behind STEM is to help them understand how to design their own planes.
Yeah, it's not based on flying. I mean, you will become a good builder, you will become a good pilot, but you'll also become a designer, you'll become an engineer. And there's more than just wings and tails to flight. There's programming, there's tuning and stuff. Even our Aura system, kids are learning about how PID tuning works and how it reacts to it. They're learning how about accelerometers and gyros. You ever want to see robotics collide with aeronautics? Our STEM program has that. So proud of what Trevor and Jake have done. And we're also with all the other teachers. We have like 700 teachers and over 3,000 students, not counting our home-based educators actively doing it. We've been doing this before it was cool. And I'm so happy to see them. And during Flight Fest, That's our #1 busiest activity is the STEM tent. It's amazing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put a bead of glue down here. Get me all excited, Lee.
Well, it's not hard to get you excited about STEM, and
Yeah,
that is.
It is.
There's a lot that we have. What would you say? Up our sleeve.
Yeah.
With STEM, and I think that some of STEM's going to. Well, we know it. Some of it's going to bleed over into just a hobby, and how it's
no
going
doubt.
to impact, what it is that we do.
No doubt. Well, and how many times can you have an activity that you go in school and these kids can take that activity and they can take it home and they can get that reinforced and even enjoy it with their family? It is the coolest way to get the parents involved, So really, really love it. The Easy Line's fantastic, but like you said, we can't even talk about it now, but what we have coming in STEM, students, do us a favor. Get your teachers to check out FT STEM, and then parents also. This is something, if you are flying with your kids right now, you can be rock stars in the classroom and you can help train the teachers and help the students learn how to fly and impact people in a positive way. So keep in mind, I got glue globules on there, so I was just scraping that off.
Well, and I think you just made a good segue into the point that STEM is not just for like the public schools or the school system. It's also for homeschoolers as well.
Correct.
And all of the modules in which we have and the packages, curriculums that we have are just they make up they make teaching STEM easy.
Yeah, whether you're a parent teaching your
Exactly.
child or whether you're a teacher that's like, I don't know anything about aviation, you don't have to know about that. It walks you through and you'll be learning with the kids. And trust me, you want to see kids on fire and passionate about what they're doing. This is the way to do it. All right, so our fuselage top portion is done. Right now I'm working on the bottom portion. And so find the piece that looks like this. I'm sorry, I've got to look at what camera I'm on. And we're just going to go ahead and cut along the score cuts, do our fold over, and get our piece ready.
There's a request for a model. They want to see a flying Buzz Lightyear.
That would be really cool. Maybe it would be better to try that for can we make Buzz Lightyear fly, and then if it works good, then turn it into a model.
No, I think that would be perfect. So hey, we're gonna do something real quick. We're gonna turn this camera around here. Look at Haley's tree that she just put up back here.
That looks nice, Haley.
I can't hear. Wait. Let's get the top because you got. Look.
There we go.
Look at that.
That's called an FT tree right there.
FT tree.
How many? Are you guys going on week 3 now? Tomorrow is week 3 for you guys, isn't it? Being married.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to notice this back tail portion I haven't cut out. We're going to cut that piece out when we get that mounted in the airplane just to keep the strength back there. Let's go ahead and do our fold over. That's going to be right in the front here. Going to bead of glue. We'll take this up 90 degrees.
So the question is, when will the plans for the FT tree be released? I love it.
Oh, they're already out. Yeah, check the resources tab.
I'm sure you could probably get a deal today.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, so Ben Harbour says if we do a Buzz Lightyear, he must be able to take off vertically, then pop his wings out and fly controlled.
Well, doesn't he pop his wings out before he takes off, though?
I don't know. I think what Ben's saying is like he has to have like rockets in his legs. So rocket up, pop out wings, and then fly controlled.
I like that idea. All right.
I can make the
So
rockets.
Ooh, rockets.
What I'm doing right now, friends, is I'm just going and doing a quick test fit, mainly around where the doublers are. I want to make sure this fully seats down. If by any chance that your doublers are off a little bit and maybe it raises too high, you can always take something like a ruler or something and kind of crush them down. I'll show you like this. My re-gluing, it went a little bit high. There we go. Now that we're happy with the way everything fits, we're going to make sure that we have plenty of glue on our hot glue gun. And I'm just going to concentrate at first. Where are we at? Right here. I'm going to do the back half first. So I'm going to put a bead of glue. One thing I like about the angles of the Tutor is it gives you the ability to not have to do everything at one time. And a thin bead of glue. And notice I'm focusing most of the glue here at like a 45-degree angle between the foam and the paper.
Ben says that he'll accept a catapult launch.
That's good. How about off the banister? Because I think that's how Lightyear, or Buzz Lightyear liked to fly, was jumping off a
Yeah,
banister.
well, and that's what multiple people have said. That it wasn't flying. It was
Falling with style.
falling with style.
Oh, we would make lots of things fall with style.
Oh yeah.
All right. Ben's doing an awesome job. He is building a huge airplane off of one of John Overstreet's designs. John shared with him the files for the C-47. And so Ben, if you haven't checked out Ben's channel, he's building a 24-foot Master Series C-47. I think he calls it the Harbor Hangar.
Oh, that thing is huge. I mean,
It's massive.
I can't even imagine.
No. All right, so we did the back half here. Let's go ahead and open this up like a little car door. And right around here, we'll just put a little slight bend here so that just goes all the way down, just like that. Make sure we have plenty of glue. And go right over these doublers.
Hey, Fred had a good idea.
What's that?
We can drop Buzz Lightyear from the Megalacy.
I love that idea. Hey, maybe we do, well, no, we won't have time to say, maybe we should do that instead of the flying sleigh. Put a little tin hat on them.
No, the flying sleigh is going to be awesome.
I'm frankly nervous about the flying sleigh. I hope I can pull that off.
Well, I hope you can pull it off too. If not, all these people that are listening and watching you are
Call
going
me
to be...
out. I didn't say what year, right?
It's kind of like the Shinden.
All right. So just rocking it back and forth. You notice I'm kind of just pulling it here, just giving a nice tension on the bottom piece. Also keep it from gluing. Look how nice that looks. All right, let's go ahead and locate our front piece here, and we'll put that on. Isn't it kind of funny, Lee? Like every time I start building, you know, the table's nice and organized, and then by the time I'm ready to sit on the floor because the table's completely covered. I wonder how many people are like that.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, and they can't see off camera where there's just stuff laying all over the place because when people build, they just build.
That's a nice way to say that I'm a slob.
Oh, I didn't say you're a slob. You just stay focused on the build, and there it goes.
All right, same process as before. Gotta cut down a little bit farther here. There we go, there's one side. I think Jen's actually probably, it wouldn't surprise me if she's packaging things right now.
Well, I wouldn't doubt
With
it either.
your awesome wife, no doubt.
Oh yeah, they're probably down there doing some crazy packing. They're gonna need to. I mean, it's been a good few days.
It's been wonderful.
So, which is a good transition into, or a good time to just tell everybody about our store. For those of you, maybe most of you already know about how our store, we've taken back our store from A-Main months ago now, back in June is when it happened, but this is the first time in a while that we've had it during the Christmas and season and for Black Friday and all that good stuff.
Been an awesome experience.
Oh yeah.
And I'll tell you, the community's really celebrated it too. I think they really like the new look and the simplicity of the store. Everything they want is right there.
Well, and you know what I've heard too about a comment about it is our customer service has been a lot better than
we got
past.
a rock star. If anyone knows who Blue Jay is, his name is Wes. He's the one that actually won the Tiny Whoop Marathon here, but he lives over an hour away, and he drives to work over an hour just to come work here. But he's the one behind the phones that's helping people out, and I love his heart for people and how he helps them out. He gives them so much time and effort. You know, we can't fix everything, but boy, he puts 110% into it. All right, so what I'm doing now, friends, and hopefully you're following along with me on the video, is I'm just gently rolling everything in here. And I want to kind of mimic this shape as best as I can before I glue it in. The better job we do doing this, the better everything is going to look. Now, I'm not going to try to do this in one piece. I'm going to actually go ahead and do this in two segments. But we want to start our foam right about the width of the gap that you see here. Once we have that, we'll roll that up. So let's first go ahead, and I'm going to base my glue right about there. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to take my glue from this point over, and then we'll finish the wrap.
So they love your T-shirt. They love all the new T-shirts, but the one you're wearing there is
Oh, I made this?
yes.
That was a T-shirt that was desired for probably close to 10 years. Because the blisters, the Band-Aids, and the battle scars are part of this wonderful hobby. And then the pride in getting to create something that flies is something that should be celebrated. So shout out to Steven Rosema. He worked with Jennifer, and they made this shirt a reality for Flite Fest. And let's just say I have a lot of them because I wear them all the time, don't I, Lee?
Maybe once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that we're not seeing Steven pop up on here. He's usually one of the ones that gets in here and does some rooting around.
So I don't hope I'm holding this at a good angle for the camera here, but what we'll do is we'll spend about 5-10 seconds down here, then we'll roll it up, and then we'll roll it back down. And what we're doing is we're just giving it enough time to kind of seat in place, and as that glue cools, it's going to adhere real nicely. Now, if you're doing this off your wife or your mom's dining room table, put something down to protect it. They're not going to like you if you make this all gluey. So put something down on there, building mat. You get our crafty kit, the box actually turns into a cutting board, and it's not meant to resist cutting, but you can spray it with something like Camp Dry, and it's fantastic for just scraping the glue off later. Almost done there.
So what makes our, in your opinion, Josh, what makes our crafty kit, what it is, desirable?
Desirable? There's a lot of times people don't have like the basic stuff. They want to get in the hobby, and if you can build planes, you're saving so much money and energy, and also if you break it, you can fix it. Something as simple as a knife, a triangle, a ruler, good tape, servo centering tool, alarm, battery alarms. Those kind of tools aren't easy to get, and when you kind of have to search for each one of them, eventually you end up missing one. Our crafty kit just brings all that together, and if you're an advanced builder or building our predominantly bigger airplanes, the big one with the 300-watt glue gun is the one for you. And if you're younger and say you don't want to use razor blades, say 6, 7 or below, the basics is really good, and that's meant for our easy line and mostly for STEM application. But we tried to pick a glue gun that was fantastic, that was controllable, and a knife that could do bevel cuts. We didn't design this knife, but we did go through about 50 different knives to find the perfect knife that we wanted to endorse and put in our kit. So,
what about the glue itself?
Yeah, the glue.
People are asking if there's what brand of hot glue do you use?
Boy, I want to say this is from High Gold Adhesives. We went through about 30 to 40 different types of glue, and all glue is not created equal. I'll do this in a second here, but if you notice our glue, where's the camera? Right there. Okay. It's dark, and that's not because like the early days with the AdTech glue that you buy at Walmart, the multi-temp, where we said if it's dark, that means there's moisture because there was a bad batch a long time ago. This actually has more binders in it, and if you kind of tap it, it's not rubbery, it's more plasticky. And as it goes through the glue gun, those binders give you the ability, say you're building in Florida or in a hot climate, your plane won't melt and fall apart. It's also not rubbery. It's more gluey, I guess you could say, more binding, more rigid. And that's fantastic for putting planes together. So we put a lot of energy in this. Neat thing is, from our store, it's the same price as Walmart glue. If you run out, all of our planes can be built with virtually any glue, but this stuff really, really works good. So yeah, it's not made the same, and it has I don't want to say olefins, more binders. I forget the name of it, but there's more binders in it. Okay. This is fully dried. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to come down in this crack here, and I'm going to put a bead of glue here, I'm going right along with the doublers. And finally, right along the sides of the foam here. There we go. And then we'll use the table as our friend. We're going to roll this up. And then I'm finally going to go to the edge of the table here, and I'm going to fold this down.
So Dustin's asking about all of the tools in which you're using.
Yeah.
And how, asking, are they from the Crafty Kit? And you've
Yeah.
already answered that, but I think it's a good reminder or something to
The only
address.
thing we don't have in our Crafty Kit is like pliers and stuff like that. That's a pretty common thing. Also, you can go anywhere and buy pliers. You can go to a dollar store and get pliers or Harbor Freight. And barring cutting the landing gear wire, even the cheapest of those tools will work fairly well for you. The landing gear wire does require some pretty decent cutters for the really thick gauge stuff. But there we go. Just pulling off my little glue hairs here real quick.
So Bill's asking, is there going to be an intermission so you can get a fresh cup of coffee and an ice cream sandwich?
No, if I do that, I'll need an intermission to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that would be nice. An ice cream sandwich does sound good right now.
Turkey mashed potatoes.
Turkey and mashed potatoes?
I could go for a full plate of that right now.
Dang.
That's awesome. There's something just so special about live builds with people. I love it. Okay.
Now look at that. Did you mess up on that fuselage?
Yes, I did.
You can't
But
even
it's
tell.
inside. Oh my goodness gracious. That's just a good warning for the future, but yes. All right, I'm just gonna cut off that extra glue glob. All right, so you're gonna see some dotted lines on both sides. Those dotted lines are exactly where we wanna cut. Now when we cut, angle your knife in just a little bit so it doesn't cut through the doubler necessarily, it just cuts on the outside. So I'm just gonna go ahead and look from that. You can look right down inside here. Once you find your line on the outside, a little rocking motion's all you need. There it is. Boop. And then we'll just finish this off. There we go. Now let's pull that extra little glue off. And there it is. Let's go on to our next step. Let's go ahead and build our hatch while we're working on the front of the airplane. Let's go ahead and locate that now. All right, your hatch is real simple. It looks just like this here. You're gonna notice it has an A-fold on here. Let's first start by score cutting all our pieces and weeding it out.
So we got the LC Aviator is asking about Flight Fest next year. When is it going to be? I got to pull up my calendar because I don't know the dates right off the top of my head.
It's in June, I know that,
It is
not
in
July.
June. Let me look. Boom, 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 boom. June 23rd through the 26th. Yes, June 23rd through the 26th of 2022 will be Flight Fest.
All right, for this hatch.
Dan Sponholes is on top of it. That's probably because Dan's probably already put in his
no doubt.
vacation ahead of time.
So for this hatch, the first fold I'm doing, friends, is the C fold. We did that just the same exact way on our wing, 180 degrees right over, just like that. And then our next fold is going to be our A fold, and that's where the side plates are above the bottom plate. So for that, we're going to leave the bottom plate or the side plate against the table. We're going to rotate the bottom plate up 100 or 90 degrees. Let's go ahead and place a bead down there and up 90 degrees. Yeah, winter time's a great time to kind of get that passion with building again. You just build up your arsenal of planes. I like building a lot of amphibious planes through the winter. Planes with floats and like the sea duck, because you can fly them off of snow.
Hey, we've got the stomp stick with that bundle that comes with the floats and
Yeah, the
everything.
stomp stick bundle.
That's a nice bundle. It's on sale right now. It's like $20 off.
Yeah, it gives you the old Emax 2215 motor, which is the basically around the C equivalent. Gives you the big monster wheels, the reinforced landing gear, the thicker wire, I should say, and then the float kit with it. So basically, you have two different versions of the stick that you can build. As the amphibious version, which goes off snow, and then also the I'd say the stall version.
Yeah, Spawn says that he can't get any vacation until July, so he won't be at Flite Fest
Oh
next
no,
year.
seriously.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey, we're gonna be doing Oshkosh, a big push for Oshkosh. Maybe we can get that word out too to everybody as we're talking.
Yeah, and we haven't gotten to finalize the details because obviously we got to work with the EAA. But our goal is to go to EAA Air Venture, not just to do content, but to actually bring a representation of our store, have a place to build, and really see how much we can do down there. Kind of have our own mini Flite Fest, I guess you could say there, if that's doable. So
yeah, I mean, we're gonna have. Hopefully, what we can do is we can draw a bunch of the Flight Test family out there. You know, have a little meetup. That way, we don't have to worry about getting the generators and the shower houses and stuff. We can have somebody else.
Yeah, they have good generators and shower houses.
They do.
Well, and it is an amazing experience to see. Like, you have planes that are one of a kind, then you have these beautiful military birds. You can just see it all there. It's absolutely incredible. All right, so I got my hatch here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this right to the edge. I'm going to use the tip of my knife, mark both sides. Make sure your hatch is all the way back.
Yeah, Dustin, you're asking about sales on our site. Yeah, there's actually quite a few. Mainly, if you look in the bundle area, the plain bundles, we got some nice discounts there. All of our tools, like what Josh is using there, all of that stuff has discounted prices, and our elements as well. So there's quite a bit that's on the site that's discounted.
Definitely. Lee, am I going at an okay pace? Is anyone getting lost?
Other than your mistake, no one is
We're
saying
okay?
anything about your
Perfect.
your pace.
Well, our hatch is pretty much done. We are going to revisit our hatch when we put our power pod in to put the two little dowels to make a key in. But what we want to see right now is we want to see that fit down just like that. And we're ready to go ahead and turn this 180 degrees, and we'll work on our tail now. So let's go ahead and put this aside. I got my elevator here. Let's go ahead and grab our rudder. Our foam stash is getting thinner and thinner. You notice that, Lee?
It is. It's a beautiful thing.
I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and lead off our little extra holes here. It's easy to just kind of run our razor blade through there and pop those out. And then we're also going to go ahead and do a single bevel. Now this one's going to go ahead and be on the, we're going to do this on the elevator side. Typically with the thinner membranes, I do it on the stabilizer side. This is nice and thick, so we'll do it on the elevator. And to do that, we'll take it to the table, 180 degrees. And then right against, that's all we need to do.
Hey, your mistakes aren't mistakes. They're
Happy
memories and stories, as Ben has said.
Thank you, Ben. It is an awesome thing. We all get to embrace our mistakes. It makes us human, but I love the fact that, number one, you guys give us grace to get over that, but also, it doesn't ruin your build. I remember when I used to build balsa wood airplanes and I would build something wrong, and you'd have to literally crack the sticks apart, and it wasn't easy to put them back together because when you re-glue them, they're not as strong. It's just amazing what you can do with a simple material called foam board. And it really, you know, it's a great encouragement. It's a great relaxing activity. This is new. I'm going to show you how to do a a reinforcement hot glue hinge. A lot of you guys have probably seen this in the past. We're going to take the tip of our nozzle and we're going to put it right over the paper and the foam where they meet and put a really thin bead down. Now I'm going to grab a piece of scrap foam, in this case it's going to be the dihedral gauge, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to scrape off all that extra foam. What this does is this is going to make this joint nice and solid and basically keep it from ever being able to peel apart. We're going to let this fully dry before we go ahead and move any further. One thing I always do is I can lick my finger, run it down here, and that'll keep it from sticking to itself.
At least you don't put your finger back in your mouth after you get the glue on it.
No, you don't do that.
That was kindergarten.
I got weeded out by first grade, right?
That's right.
If you're building at a school or something, don't do that, Chick.
Hey,
Don't do
so
that.
Sponzi, he's got a question.
Yes, sir.
What are we building the day after Christmas? I think it's a
All
good
right.
idea.
First of all, my wife will kill me, so maybe we do it
Oh,
later.
day after Christmas. Ain't
after
that her
Christmas.
birthday or something?
28th is her birthday.
Well,
Couple
see,
days
the 27th is our anniversary.
after. Okay. We should, maybe we do it closer to New Year's or something.
See, we could do a New Year's build and do the legacy, and then they could. I mean, that would be a nice 4-hour build. Bring it, start at 8
Is
and
this-
end at midnight.
What do people say? That a New Year's build.
A New Year's build.
Build it into the New Year's.
Building into the new. How? I mean, it keeps. It'd be fun. It'd be.
Do people like the time frame, like a Friday night?
I don't know. No one's really said anything about the time. Hey, I haven't even seen anything about. I mean, you're about 14 minutes away from
9 o'clock?
9 o'clock, and no one's complaining yet. So
Wow.
that's good.
That means they're very patient people. All right, so if you follow along with me, you should have everything looking just like what you see here. You have your 2 bevel cuts on the rudder side and the elevator side. Now let's go ahead and join these 2 pieces together. And to do that, we're going to fold this 180 degrees. We're going to make sure that our hinge line is facing down on our elevator. We're going to slide this up into place and then down right over the tabs. And we can lock it in like that. Once we're happy with that motion, I'm just going to lift this up just ever so slightly and put a very simple bead of glue right on the bottom here and then press it down in. And I can come back with my triangle and I can move it and hold it just like that.
So Fred made a pretty
Oh, is this
real statement. He says, "We're toy airplane nerds. What else will we be doing on Friday night?"
I love our nerds.
Oh yeah.
Fred, tell Fred I can't wait to see him.
Yeah, he
coming
says
up.
he's got the landing gear.
That's wonderful.
Although he did say that he can't come to Ohio now because he spent all his money on Black Friday shopping.
Oh no. Tell him to ship the landing gear and just climb in the box that it's getting shipped in. We won't tell anybody.
Well, now he's saying that if you build a flirkin with him, he'll come up.
You know, deal. Fred, you come up. There's a kit waiting for you, buddy. You know, one of my favorite memories is Fred. He was in my basement, and we were building, because Fred was one of the first persons. First of all, friends, if you don't know, Fred Provost is Flying Monkey. He was one of the original community members, I think even before technically Flight Test began.
Or on YouTube, he's the mediocre FPV.
Mediocre FPV, yes, on YouTube. But Fred and I are dear friends for many, many years. But he was at my house one day, and with all the planes falling apart in Florida before we had our awesome glue, he mastered using white Gorilla Glue, which is it's a foaming glue, but it's white. It doesn't look all gross. I don't think it foams as much. Fred can correct me as I'm wrong, but we were learning the skills of white Gorilla Glue through Fred, so we could put it in a tech channel video, which we did, and it was really cool. I think that was in the Sportster video, but we built a Sportster together, which is still one of my favorite airplanes. All right, so our tail is nice and strong. It's perpendicular to the elevator. Let's go ahead and flip this over 180 degrees, and we need to go now cut this little piece out, and you're going to see two little dots on the bottom here, right at the very tip of the fuselage. We're just going to go ahead and line up our razor blade. I kind of like to use a little sawing motion here, and it just pops right out. Let's go ahead and do a quick test fit. Easy way to get this in is start with the rudder inside, then kind of pull it towards you. Get my little guy up in there. And then we're going to find our two tabs, a little pinch motion, and she'll sit right in. Touch the edge of the table.
So there's some ask about World War I planes. Isn't the
D7's right behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a World War I plane.
So there will be a World War I plane coming out here before too long.
And we owe a real rock star of our team members for that. Jason McQuiston. We don't get to have him on the show too often, but Jason is the one that is basically the master of all things laser cut. So all these kits getting made, good chance it's from Jason. And he is just an army around our lasers, but also he's an amazing designer, amazing pilot, and an amazing builder. He's the one that had the big 40%, I'm going to forget the name of that biplane, I'm sorry. But he gave us permission to recreate his D7, which is behind us. So we'll show you that. But very classy looking. It's bigger. It's going to fly off of our 2814 motor, but it's incredibly slow as well too. So really cool airplane. All right, so I have this test fit here. It's really important that we make sure that this is perpendicular to the fuselage. And if you use the table as your friend and you use this little guy right here, it should be perfect. Check this out. Here's your teaser. All right, the noises aren't included unless you want to buy a lead to go along with it. He's not cheap though. All right, now that we have our tail in place, I'm just going to simply lock it in with a bead of glue on all four sides. I can also put a bead of glue on both sides of my skid. And then I'm going to come along with my rudder and lock it in with the dorsal fin. Right on the back there, right on the back there. Just grab a scrap piece of foam, wipe off any excess. And then it's always a good idea to come back and again check, make sure that everything is perpendicular, just like that. I'm always trying to figure out which camera to point to. Is that good, Noah?
At the end of the day, you can point to whatever one. We'll just change it.
You guys are quick. Okay. Guess what? Fuselage is done.
It looks pretty, man.
Thank you.
You can't even tell that you messed up the guts.
No, you gotta look inside. Let's just look inside there. Who are we gonna give this to? Or is this gonna be the one that we train off through the winter? I'll just put some floats on it.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Okay. You know what I think we should do? Let's go ahead. I know this is outside the realm of the build video, but once we get the landing gear, we can strap on the wings, we can have that airframe completed, and then we can kind of just go backwards and we'll go right through the electronics and hook it up. Sound good?
You can do whatever you want, boss.
Community good? You guys good? Sound good to you?
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody that's...
Perfect.
We're still getting new people coming in.
Really?
Yeah, other people are heading out, more coming in. And
that is wonderful.
How much does it cost to go to Flite Test? I'm guessing they're meaning Flite Fest. If you go to flitefest.com, that's where all that information is always kept.
Yeah.
But it all depends on if you're planning on camping out for the weekend or if you're coming and going. So.
By the way, hey Noah, switch to the other camera real quick. I want to show them Jason's stamp. All right, can you see that? All right. There. Let's see.
Right there.
Oh.
Look, do that at angle. Hold it at an angle. Right there.
There it is. There it is. All right. So there's something really,
Yeah, there you go.
something really important we have done with any of our team members that make your kits. We have them stamp it, and that's because 2 reasons. We want them to have it personal. These planes are personal. They are a thank you. They are a present, and they are a sign of who you employed. So we make sure that they stamp these as a sign of pride, but also a sign of thank you, and also so you guys can connect a name with a face of who you've given a job. At the end of the day, we're making foam board airplanes. And there's people making a living off it. There's jobs and people and families that are blessed because of it and because of your support. We want you guys to put a face with a name. It's not number 4. It's not just magically appearing. It's not from China. It's from people right here in Minerva, Ohio, and around us that you've given jobs to. So look for your stamp. And if you ever have a problem, that way we can also make sure we go to that person directly and make sure that it's affixed quickly. So it takes a lot. People on probation, whenever we'd hire people, they don't get a stamp. They get like this little question mark thing, or the person trained in to make, hey, it would be Jason going forward. They stamp it. So it's kind of a really cool process. But again, thank you. I want you guys to know who you've given a job to because we're all incredibly thankful.
Yeah, I mean, and the guy, I mean, Jason, there's no doubt, takes pride in his work. So.
Oh my goodness. So here's a crazy story. Now Jason, again, he's an amazing pilot, incredible 3D pilot. He flies planes bigger than what I fly. We were flying to Megalysy. What was it, Noah? Was it Tuesday? We were shooting the episode? No, Wednesday morning. There were a ton of planes. We were getting ready for Black Friday. There was a ton of manufacturing. Dude, we called up the team in manufacturing and said, hey, come on down, watch the Megalysy fly. The group showed up, but Jason, the hardcore pilot, stayed behind because he had planes to make, and he wanted to make sure that he got enough planes made for the need for the store. That's dedication, because I mean, if he was there, frankly, we could have tossed the controls over and let him fly it. So hats off to you, Jason. We love you. And also your stamp makes you look like Superman, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, his stamp
It's a
definitely
pretty cool
makes him
stamp.
look tougher.
All right,
There's no
we
doubt.
are on the landing gear, friends, and just for a quick catch up here, you'll notice that I took this landing gear piece and I weeded it out. We're also going to need to reach across, and this is the plywood piece that's included. We don't need this section here. That's for the tricycle landing gear. If you want to do that, you can follow along in the video. We did the tricycle gear because a lot of people want a tricycle plane. I like this more. I like tail draggers. I like bush-looking airplanes. So this is
I think it looks cooler too. I mean, it's
I
just
do
the
too.
look with those big 4.3 tires on them. I mean, they're just. It looks like it's something that would be on the Alaskan wilderness frontier.
It's a balanced look. This is our hardware pack. You're going to notice on some of our newer models, the premium pack, which is what this is right here, is included. We did put premium packs in a lot of our older models while supplies lasted, but that's not for everything. That was to get people a taste of it. Moving forward, all of our new planes, our goal is to have them have the premium pack. I do want to tell you this, a little bit of transparency, just as we're having import issues with the Freedom Fox, these guys here come from overseas too, and you'll see why when I open it up here. We actually have molds made and plastic control horns and firewalls made, which are incredible, but our supplies are thin. So we may have to, for a short time, go to the old school pack, which is still fantastic. It's just going to be wooden firewalls, wooden control horns. So if that changes mid-run, we'll have something on the store letting you know about it. But just understand where it's coming from, and it'll be a temporary thing. One reason why we like to source from the U.S. So this, again, as I mentioned earlier, this is our premium pack. You're going to see we have a beautiful, is this camera here?
Yeah, you're good there. Hey, while you're doing that, those elements right there, the vinyl fiber wall, yeah, I can't even say it. Firewall, that's one of the ones that's on clearance, or not clearance, but Black Friday sale. So
for our scratch build friends and also people that maybe want the premium firewall, this Dan Sponholz, I know you're still talking or on here, I'm guessing. This was inspired by you, buddy. This is off of your 3D model, and then we made a couple little changes, but 90% of this is from your brain. I can't thank you enough for letting us do it. This is a glass fiber firewall. It has awesome little grippies on it. We went ahead and added some pins to puncture into the foam. But the really cool thing about this is the oval shapes allow so many different motor configurations to go on, and then the breather holes put tons more air through the power pod for cooling. So we really love this. This is something we couldn't make in wood and have it still be strong. But the glass fiber, holy cow, if you can break this, you must have done something pretty epic. And the same thing with our control horns. Our control horns actually have a keeper on the back side of them, and we'll address that later. What we want to locate here is we want to locate in this pack of wire our landing gear rod, which is right there.
And you're using the big wheels, right?
Yeah, I got the big wheels underneath the.
Okay, those big wheels are on sale as well.
Yes.
So, and not that we're trying to plug everything, but I know that when people are building and they see some of this stuff,
Yeah,
they're like, man, I wish I had that. Well, a lot of the stuff that we're using today is on the website and is part of the Black Friday sale.
100%. All right, so we have our main landing gear piece here. We're going to go ahead and split this right down the middle. It's 15.5 inches. Half of 15.5 will go 7, plus that'll give us 14. And then 3/4 will give us 1.5 inches, so 7 3/4. We're going to grip it right here, and then we're going to bend it. And what we want to do is we want to match the angle of what our little foam piece is as perfectly as possible right in the center. And that looks good. So we got that piece. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and measure 1 inch and 5/8. For my friends in other countries, that is, looks like 4 centimeters. We're going to grab that. And now we're going to go ahead and bend. I don't know how many degrees that is. 25 maybe. Another 1 inch and 5/8. Never get too bent up in trying to get everything perfect whenever you're making a landing gear. A lot of times people try to start. The easiest way to make a landing gear is start from the center and work out. When you do that, you're automatically making things symmetrical. So even if you're off slightly, you can be off evenly, and that's really important. All right, now that we have that, we can put this against, and I can see that I just need to bend up a little bit more on each side. So that's exactly what I'll do. And the neat thing about this is, you notice, we don't have to do any adjustments. We don't have to do any trimming. That center section, yep, 6 inches, perfect.
Yeah, so props off, he's asking, Josh, is this live?
It is live.
It's so live that he messed up earlier.
I did. And they can go back and they can see that.
Yes.
All right, our landing gear is now done. Boy, that glare is pretty brutal there, isn't it, Noah? Right on the table. Now that we have our landing gear done, let's go ahead and go back to the table. I'm going to take the edge of the landing gear and I'm going to drag it right along the score cut. And what I'd like to see happen here is I want to see it so when we put this landing gear down in, it'll sink all the way through and be recessed just a little bit. Just like that. Now that we have that practice fit, we can come back. I'm going to go ahead and press some glue in here. And I press this right over top. Boop. Just like that. And I'm going to move this out of the section where I just glued. There we go. And it's really important to make sure that this is flat because over top of this, we're going to go ahead and glue this piece of wood. And this is a big difference from what we had before with the Simple Scout and the Simple Cub. And I really like to go back into a version 2 and add these doublers because after we did this, you're not breaking it. It is incredibly strong. All right, that looks good. Oop, I was talking, not wiggling. There we go, we're good. All right, next we're going to go ahead and test fit right over top here. And if we bent everything right, what you'll see is these holes go on both sides of the wire in all 3 spots. Once you confirm that, we can lay a nice healthy bead of glue right around here. And then we're going to press this down and in. Whenever I do wood, I like to kind of wiggle it and just get that film as thin as possible. Thick glue isn't as strong as an even thin space. I'm going to take off any extra that we have there. There's my little triangle. All right, now we can go ahead and do our C-fold. That looks really good. I am going to put a thin little bead of glue on the bottom paper, and then I'm going to go ahead and trace it just like I did before. What the paper is doing now is it's kind of giving us the friction to slide up into the fuselage, and the rest is all held by the glue, or all held by the wood, I'm sorry. Once we're happy with that, use the palm of your hand, give it nice even pressure, press down nice and firm. And I should have my popsicle sticks. I should have some zip ties in here. Like the gift that keeps on giving. I know you're in here. Get out. There it is.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, it's like Mary Poppins' bag.
I think there's too much stuff. We shouldn't give all that stuff away free.
Well, you know, a lot of people, when they started getting the premium kits and the standardized small packs, they're like, where do all the extra pieces come? What we did is we consolidated a lot of our small packs into common packs. So in some cases, you'll get like 2 or 3 extra push rods. You'll get extra landing gear wire. You'll get extra, you know, guide tubes. These things are worth their weight in gold. And that's just because, number one, it's easier to have maybe 5 different packs we can choose from than 60 different packs. But also, everyone can use an extra push rod. So it's pretty cool.
Or an extra rubber band.
Or an extra rubber band. These rubber bands are legit.
Oh, man.
They are gummy. They are awesome. Okay.
Hey, are you planning on any builds to coincide with Top Gun 2 release?
Yes. So, John, first of all, I wish I'd known when they were going to release it.
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either. John designed an F-18 that he's been sitting on. He's trying to plan for the release of Top Gun 2. And then we're going to do something obviously really cool with it. So if you're looking here, all I've done is I've taken my zip tie and I'm zip tying each piece right through. I like to go through the bottom, around the wire, and then fasten it. And then a little bit of rocking motion will sink that right down to the depth of the foam so it won't snag for you. There's 2. Oop. And there is 3.
So the question is, this guy said, I enjoy the B-52 build. I'm guessing you're thinking the B-17.
Probably the B-17, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had any Dutch roll issues with it.
No, B-17 was so ridiculously stable. It was amazing.
Okay, so I'm ignorant. What's a Dutch roll?
So what a Dutch roll is where the plane will do this.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember the old Fogey? Mm-hmm. The old Fogey, we had to make the tail bigger at midline to take care of some of the Dutch roll issue. And yeah, that's very common with a lot of old timers and stuff. I never knew B-17s had a Dutch roll issue, to tell you the truth. But no, that plane was just ridiculously stable. Probably one of the most stable planes we ever flew. And it's still flyable too. It's actually at manufacturing. We're going to move it into Pilot Institute when it gets warmer. Pilot Institute's finally redone, and it looks beautiful. Excited about that. Okay. Let's see, which camera do you want me on, Noah? Right, this good? Okay, cool. So you can see we have our 3 zip ties holding this down. This is not going anywhere. Let's go ahead and put our wheels on. And I didn't have time to go to the manufacturer and get wheels, so I got to take them off of this one. But it's a perfect time to advertise our new multi-tool. I used a salesman voice on that. Did you like that?
Yeah, but the only problem is the multi-tool, we don't sell that individually.
No,
it's just in the kit.
You get this with the Crafty kit, the Pro version, right? I don't think, is it in the basics? I don't think it's in the basics, is it? Mm-mm. So this is with the Pro version. This is 1.5 Phillips head, 2 and 2.5, all in one multi-tool, and it's hardened tip. It's amazing. Let me just take this off here real quick. See, I'm not going to cheat and use my other Tutor landing gear. There we go. And I got the right wheel collars over here. You can use a little drop of glue to hold these on. For this one, I want this to last a little longer. I'm going to go ahead and just use wheel collars. Lee, I know we have wheel collars on our store, but I think they're the bigger ones, but they still work.
When you say bigger ones, what do you mean by
the ones that are meant for the 1.25 inch wire? It's like a 4mm hole. Mm-hmm. So if you want wheel collars,
yeah, because those come with our the Legacy V2.
Yeah. There we go. There's one. we'll get these guys in stock. It's just hard to get some of these things at the moment. What we like to do with our store, friends, in case you haven't heard us talk about it in podcast, is we know that the majority of our community are builders, and it's getting harder and harder to get raw materials and get supplies for building. So we're working really hard to not bring everything in, like all of Horizon's products or all of that. We learned that with Amy very quickly. 25,000 SKUs didn't bring the experience our community really appreciated. What we would like to do, though, is we would like to work towards bringing every type of element, and then after we're done with the elements and the different building materials that way, we move over and we start bringing in EPP foam. We notice so many people can't get EPP foam, and then a lot of people build with Depron, and we can move towards Depron. So our goal eventually is to be a store that serves DIY building, and yes, of course, has some P&P planes, able to go, but it's our favorite ones. It's the ones the community really appreciate. It's the ones that reinforce our STEM programs, and that way, when you want to build a plane, even if it's not a flight test plane, you know where you can get the materials for and also support us. So that's just kind of a high-level view of what we'd like to see the store become. And with our new Hotwire foam cutter, there's also a lot of things we're going to be able to do with EPP foam and some race wings and things like that too. So look for that to come, and maybe a few things with STEM, right, Lee?
Anytime we can do something with STEM, it's a good day.
Yes, it is.
Hey, as you're doing that, what's easier to fly, an RC plane or a helicopter?
RC plane, hands down. If you're going to ever do a helicopter, start with a simulator. By the way, what I'm doing here, just to kind of make this a little bit more impervious for being moved, I'm just putting a piece of tape over there. That's going to keep that from delaminating. We're going to make sure our landing gear is favoring towards the front. If you notice, the little hash marks on our fuselage are actually not centered. They're a little bit in the front. And we're going to, with a rocking motion now, we're going to go ahead and rock that down. And we have a landing gear. I can actually push this down a little bit. There we go. Okay. While we're working on the back, let's take one of our barbecue skiers and let's give ourselves a tail skid just so we don't beat up the rudder too badly. I'm going to go ahead and go about 1/2 inch longer, and with my razor blade, I can roll it back and forth, crack it, and then we'll glue that down in. We are just a couple steps from basically having our airframe done. So in the video, if you're tuning in before we started, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the whole entire airframe build, and then we're going to just organically put electronics in here. So if you want to learn how to put electronics in, hang with us. We'll be just casually going through it. I'll be installing, describing what I'm doing. But we wanted to make sure we got people through the airframe first. And the nice thing about the Tutor is you don't need to have servos. You don't need to have electronics to be able to build the whole airframe, which makes that really, really nice. We got our skid on. We got our landing gear. Let's go ahead and put our wing hold downs in. And for that, we're going to take the pointy end of our barbecue skier, and we're not going to try to pass it from one end to the other. What we're going to do is we're going to pass it through one side, then the other side, and then we can go ahead and work it through. I like to take my pinky and my finger, about 1/2 inch. We'll go on the other side. And I'm just going to go down to the table, and with a quick rocking motion, I got one dowel. Same process on the other side now. Poke number 1, then number 2, and we'll pass it on through. About the width of your pinky. Right back down to the table. Simple rocking motion back and forth. There we go. And we're ready to install our wings.
So what's your plan? Are you going to make this a a 3-channel, or are you going to go 4-channel?
I think we should probably do 4-channel in case people want to see it.
Okay.
But we'll go ahead and do it, the elevator and the rudder first. And that
Okay.
way if people want to do a 3-channel, they have it. And then we'll just slap in the other 2 servos really quick. I
Awesome.
think that'll be good.
I don't know what I mean. It's 9:15. I mean, we still have a good following as far as I can tell.
Are people open to it? Or
Yeah, I mean,
I guess we could put this up for a vote. Would people like to talk Flurkin, or would they like to do electronics?
well, they can. I don't know.
That's probably mixed.
It's probably gonna be a mixed bag. We can see what everybody wants. Do a 4-channel with flaps.
4-channel. No. I even do something here, and I did in my build video. I like doing this with a lot of the planes, like the Cub. I went ahead and made this into a point. And what I can do now is I can drive this right through the center of the bottom of my wing, just like that. And then I'm going to glue that in place. And what that's going to do for me is it's going to keep the fatigue from over time buckling and curving my airplane, giving me a negative incidence. Once I've done that, you don't have to do it, but it's a good way to kind of add longevity.
So as you're doing that, everybody's saying both, do both, do both. So they're wanting electronics and then we'll talk Flurkin.
How are you feeling, Lee? You
I'm
okay?
feeling great.
Okay, I'm feeling good too.
I'm feeling great. I'll sleep in tomorrow.
I'm going to sleep in tomorrow too. All right, friends, we're going to do it.
Yeah, we got tomorrow.
We got the. All right. So I went ahead and put my little reinforcement tab in here. That is a really cool thing you can do on any of our planes, especially things like the Stork and some of the planes that have the longer wing cord that can buckle easily. Also, to add a little bit of rigidity for my wing, I'm going to also cut this a little bit wider than the fuselage, about the same as my wing hold downs. And these are extra little things you can do on any of our airplanes that just really add a tremendous amount of strength. Go right in the middle, give it a gentle little bend, just like that. Match the dihedral the best we can. There we go. One thing we can't do tonight is fly it.
Well, that's not.
We got bright spotlights there.
That is
It's
true.
not actually
We
true.
do. We do have nav lights on the store now too.
Oh, we do. You know what? We should have
should-
put those up.
Let's put those on flash sale. Can you do that?
I can put the LED. Let me see if I can find them here. The LED lights, and we can. Are they the
You did it.
flash sale?
Flash sale.
So they're on the store for $3.99.
$3.99.
Yeah. So
Let's make them $2.99.
$2.99. Look at that. $2.99 flash sale on the LED lights.
I wish we had Steph in
No,
here to make
those are the
sound.
those are the ones. Those are the ones. The nav lights, right? They're not the easy ones,
Oh,
right?
you don't want the easy lights?
Not the
Oh,
easy lights.
What about the easy lights? Can we put those on flash sale or?
I guess we are now, right?
Well, at least for a few
Yeah,
more
$3.99.
minutes.
Go to the other ones. Go to the nav
The
lights.
nav lights, okay.
I really hope those are on the store. That'll be embarrassing otherwise.
Oh, if not, we can make it happen. Nav lights. I'm looking for them. Lights. Keep on talking. Light. I know they're there.
All right. Well, this is our airframe, friends. Let's go ahead and go into electronics. You ready for that, Noah?
I'm ready.
All right. First of all, everyone that built along with me got to this point. This is a high five. Good job. Thank you for doing that with me. Let's go ahead and move on to electronics. We're going to go ahead and we'll do as a 3-channel first, and then we'll move on to do a 4-channel. So I can put the wing aside. And an easy way to get all of our electronics set up and all of our servos is let's build our power pod first and get the motor and the ESC done, and then that way we can power our servo centering tool and we can get our servo centered. So I'll even just put this aside right now too. Have you found them? They're not on the store?
No, I'm sad to say they're not.
Well, we need to get them on the store.
Yes, sir. We will get them on the store.
That's a heartbreak. Okay, guys, guess what? We have nav lights for you. They just came in. I thought we would have had them up. We have nav lights that came in, and it basically gives you the ability to put green, red, and then white on the tail for 90% of our airplanes. What they were from is they were from our Freedom Foxes, and we liked them so much we had them brought in just by themselves. So they work perfectly with our foam board kits. Well, at least they can get it for the easy line, right?
Yeah, and I'll make sure that we get those up next week. We'll get them up on Monday.
Get them up on Monday, so check them out. Hey, let's do them a favor on Monday, because when you said $3.99, I was like, I'm pretty sure they're like $6.99, but let's make them $4.99.
They'll definitely, when we get them up, they'll definitely be on sale.
Yeah. Because they're awesome. All right, so we have our power pod here. This is an A-fold. We're going to keep our side plate firmly against the ground. We're going to rotate the bottom plate up 90 degrees, pressing firmly against the table, and make sure we have a nice clean joint. And then we can come back and focus our glue on the bottom of the side plate. Up 90. You are my sunshine in your head. Happy birthday works too. Or a question.
How about a flying squirrel? I don't know, FT flying squirrel.
Flying squirrel. That sounds like a fun indoor plane. Doesn't it?
It does.
You know, I like that, buddy. We'll see what we can do.
Sounds like an easy line.
You know what? That would make an amazing easy plane.
2
A
motors.
little flying squirrel.
Oh, that would be adorable.
Okay.
What if we did so you know how we got the space flyers and the first flyers and the easy jet? What if we did like some animals?
You know, we could do
Flying
an eagle.
squirrel, a bat.
What do they call that when you base your designs off of nature? It's escaping my head. There's a name for it where they look at a bird and they design based off of what they see in nature. Our community will be able to tell us what it is. It's escaping me right now.
It'd be really cool to make like a bald eagle or something.
An eagle, a bat, and a squirrel. There's three.
There you go.
Right there. And then you can have a biology lesson while you're having your
I love it.
aeronautical engineering and everything.
Well,
else.
have you ever seen how the squirrels go through the air and they're just kind of like...
Dude, have you ever seen, I had my cat caught a flying squirrel and it got in the house.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That sounds gruesome.
Yeah, and their tails are like feathered. It's kind of crazy.
What we could possibly
I
do,
love that. I'm inspired.
Can we make a flying turtle too and like bowl the foam and make it essentially like a flying little nutball?
That would be cute.
It would be cute.
Biomechanics, is that it?
Biomechanical. Yeah, I think that's right.
Dan Sponhole says biomimicry.
Biomimicry?
Yes.
That's a new one for me. I like that one.
Ooh, the FT flying cockroach.
Ooh.
We can kill them. Bugs.
So, funny story. My father actually had a Madagascar hissing cockroach when I was a kid as a pet. He was a health inspector. He was a character. But that became the mascot of the health department. And when the cockroach passed away, they took a little tiny staple case and they made it into a coffin. And it was so well known with the people around that even the bank sent like a little cheese tray or flour thing, and it said, "A roach beyond reproach." And they kept that cockroach in the drawer, and anyone, I guess, that was new, they would pull that out.
Oh, that is awesome.
And show them the mascot with that. So, yeah, there's indication of where I came from.
Yeah.
All right, so we got our firewall in. One really important thing, whenever you have a firewall and you put this down, always make sure you put a layer of tape over top. Not doing so is going to make these things break off quite easily. So put a layer of tape on right over the top, just like you're gift wrapping it. One, two, hold that edge down. There we go.
So tail dragger's asking when those Those lights will be on the store. They'll be on.
We'll get them on Monday.
Yeah, if they're not on Monday, they'll definitely be by
Give
Tuesday.
us till noon on Monday.
Yeah, because we got meetings and plus. Well, Monday's going to be crazy.
Well, because I'll send Wes down to get
Yeah.
that up there. They may not have the most pictures, but I know we are doing pictures because the Tutor over there has the nav lights in them.
Yeah, it might be something that they're just not. They're not showing. I'll have to take a look into that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, what I'm doing now that I taped it down, I'm just popping holes. One really important thing, if you ever have a motor that cogs, make sure that you cut that center hole out where that little bit of that shaft sticks through, because a little bit of drag could cause the motors to cog. And also, with any of our swappables, oftentimes you get different lengths of screws. Don't use the longest screws in there. Make sure you use the screws that only just bite into the motor, or use the X-mount. Not all of our motors even have an X-mount, but you don't want to drive your screw into the windings on the back of the motor because it'll short it out. Our power pod's done. Let's go ahead and open up our Power Pack B. Now our power packs are pretty darn cool here. They have everything you need. Awesome reveal too. They also give you the basic hookup of how everything works here. We want this to be an educational experience, even if you're brand new, where we mark things out. So we have our 4 servos, we have our motor, we have our speed control, our props, and then we have our linkage stoppers, servo extensions, and even a Phillips head screwdriver in there for you. So we'll go ahead and we'll only take what we need for right now, so don't make too much of a mess. And we'll get our motor first.
What's your favorite superhero?
I love Captain America.
Captain America?
Yeah. Dude, I love Captain America because he's a guy that holds to his convictions.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they're not popular.
I don't know what my favorite superhero would be.
Iron Man's a close second. Shows that broken people are capable of great things.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Marvel guy, but if you're talking, if I had to pick a DC character, I would pick Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman?
Yeah,
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, I like Wonder Woman. I did like the 1984 or whatever that recent one was, though. I didn't like
I haven't got to see that one yet.
I didn't like that one. I like the original Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, we were watching that the other day. Yesterday, actually.
All right. So like I mentioned before, not all of our motors come with X-mounts. If it's our FT radio line, they will include an X-mount. If it's our value bundle line, you may or may not have a motor that includes an X-mount. Some of them just are the back of the motor. And in that case, what you need to do is you screw from behind the firewall into the motor. And you notice a lot of our motors have a 16 millimeter and a 19 millimeter spacing. In other words, one measurement is 16 millimeters, and then the perpendicular measurement is 19 millimeters. It may seem when you put that up against the firewall like, oh my goodness, the holes don't match. Just simply rotate your motor 90 degrees, and it'll be perfect for you. So that's just a little tidbit. If you do get some of our value bundles, we're using some of our 2213 motors. I know we have the 2212, I think 1250 kV motors from our Freedom Fox V1s. We went ahead and brought those all over. They're great motors, but we wanted a bigger one on V2, so we brought all those motors over, and they're phenomenal. Matter of fact, that is what we're using on the Flurkin, and it's incredibly powerful. So
we use those budget Bs on the Legacy as well.
Yeah, the budget Bs are available on the Legacy, and then we have the what is it, counterclockwise and clockwise, and we just included some lock nuts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're phenomenal. When you guys see the Meglessy video V3, spoiler alert, I'm flying FPV with that guy right there, and that has 2 of our budget Bs on it. And when you see the power, I had no problem climbing darn near vertical to catch up with the Meglessy, which cooks at a pretty good speed, and I could pass them with no problem. So plenty of power. You can go 4-cell on a 9-inch, just make sure everything's well ventilated. So they are 4-cell capable. Just don't get them hot. Don't put them through that pace. Make sure they're well vented, and you go down 1 inch on your prop. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and fasten this here. I'm just going to go ahead and fever my wires to the bottom corner here. And all we simply need to do, we'll take our pan head screws. I'm just going to pop it right through this little tiny hole, little pilot hole. And whenever you put these screws in, make sure you don't try to screw them down all the way tight. Just get them started and get them a couple turns in from fully being tight, and then do the next one. There's one, about a turn and a half from being tight. This just makes the alignment so much easier for you. There's two.
I guess next time when we do a build, we need to make sure that we don't just allot 2 hours. We tell them we need a few more.
Book 3 hours, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean,
yeah, we got the airframe done
Yeah.
in a little over 2. But yeah.
What's your favorite World War II aircraft?
Oh my goodness. I am a sucker for P-40s. So I love the P-38. I love the P-40. And John's coming out with a mighty mini P-40, so you better believe I'm going to be building one. And I'll just tighten this down. There we go.
That P-40, that was one of the ones we just flew when we were out there, right?
Yes, yeah, flies on rails. Problem with a lot of the Model P-40s is they have, tip stall issues. His is just dialed in. It's amazing. So looking forward to that coming out as a mini version. And then I also encouraged him to, as quickly as possible, make a Master Series bigger version. I thought we have one of his original P-40s. Maybe it's up in my hallway. But he really, between that plane and then the second one, he really dialed it in beautifully. All right. And that's the last screw.
So we got a little chatter about coming up on 2 million subscribers.
Yes.
Yes. We need
excited.
We need to get little help to push that.
Yeah, we are. Noah, can you check and see how many subscribers we're away?
Yeah. I think it was only like 7,500 or something.
7,500, 7,000, somewhere around there.
No.
So as of this point, we have. Sorry, I got logged out of my YouTube.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay. We have approximately.
1,993,081.
Oh my goodness.
So just
69.
under 7,000 we need.
So hopefully.
That
by
could be this
month's
week.
end. Do you think we can do that by month's end?
Oh man, I would hope. Well, month's end is in like 5 days.
Well, that's exactly.
I think we'll do it by the end of the year. I don't know if by month's end, but boy, would that be
I
incredible.
would love it. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Other than, I'm not looking forward to the 20-foot B-17, but hey.
Didn't you say 24?
No, shut your mouth. No. I can't handle it.
As I said before, our passion is in STEM. We are really working hard to build on STEM, which means anytime we talk about a huge monstrous airplane on the main channel, just understand that is a huge undertaking. We do a lot more than just obviously design planes for the store. We are advocating. I mean, how many times a week do I have meetings with FAA?
In some form or fashion.
In some form or fashion.
At least 2, if not 3 days a week.
Yeah. So
it gets crazy.
you want to see, there's a lot of gray hairs here. A lot of great people helping out, and I can't thank all of you enough. I look forward to honestly unpacking a lot of that on the podcast, because that's something we just can't unpack easily. But know one thing is, even if we're not talking about it every week, we go to battle and we do our best to stay on the front lines of that to make sure we're making a positive impact. And I feel good. I think you guys as a community through that comment period did us a tremendous favor in shaping the whole remote ID thing. But then also what's going down, we're making sure we're making noise and understanding how great this hobby is and how it helps the aviation world, doesn't compromise a single thing. Okay, so I just plugged in my ESC, and let me just kind of go along what I did here. Is the battery of this actually is going to be mounted through the hatch. So we're going to be keeping the pigtail here, but I want my ESC to get plenty of air. So what I did is I mounted it on the bottom, I simply routed it through, and then put my little lead right up in the top here, and then I ran my signal wire all the way into the back, and that's where it's going to touch to the receiver. That'll be mounted right here. This is going to give all this area right here for our battery.
So Ben's stirring the pot here. He says a quarter scale is only 26 feet. Oh, I have no
We'll do that when we
idea.
hit 3 million.
There you go. Hey, what's your favorite Mighty Mini plane that you designed?
Favorite Mighty Mini? It's a tie between the Sportster and the Mini Mustang. I would say with what I like the Sportster. It's
Yeah.
just such a cute little plane. I mean, it looks like a little vintage air racer, but it has such gentle tendencies, but it just flies on rails. So I like the Sportster a lot. I think there's so many of them. Yeah. That's a dangerous, Lee, you know how dangerous that is to ask me that question. All right, friends, I got to step off. I got to grab a battery real quick.
Oh my.
How unprofessional.
No.
Can you do
Goodness
like
gracious.
holding for technical?
Holding for technical difficulties.
I don't think we have that slide.
We need to.
I'm back. Okay,
Hey.
cool. All right, so what I have here is I have my little servo centering tool. I'm going to go ahead and line up on the outside. And I'm going to go here and we got to make sure this is turned all the way down. And what I want to make sure is I want to make sure this spins counterclockwise. So I'm going to wind this up slowly. Yep, and that's correct. If your motor is ever spinning the wrong direction, all you simply need to do is disconnect 2 of the 3 wires. So say this was spinning clockwise and we didn't want it, I would go to any of these any 2 of the 3 bullet connectors, and I'd swap them. And that would change the pattern of how it talks to the motor from ABC to BCA, and that will reverse the motor. So we're good to go there. Now that we have our power pod done, what we can do is we can reverse this, and I'm going to have this be my power, and I'm going to center my servos. So I'm going to line up my signal wire on the inside, and again, this little servo centering tool is included in our crafty kits, but also I think it's on sale right now by itself, isn't it?
With the servo tool?
Yeah, servo tool.
It is.
It is.
It's one of the awesome sales.
There it is. We want you guys building. All right, we're going to grab our servos.
And it's one of those things, I tell my wife all the time, if I had my tools organized, believe it or not, Josh, I don't have my tools organized. That is one thing I don't have organized. And if I had my tools organized, I'd be dangerous. But I think that's one inability that God has given me, to not organize my tools, because then I'd try to work on everything and then I'd break everything.
Then you break everything.
But what we want to do is make sure that you all have the right tools, because it makes a world of difference when you're building and you have the right tools.
And also, you can get everything you need, and you can get it at a very affordable price, too. We're trying to break down those borders of inconvenience or financial. I'm going to take a guess. All of our servos generally are pre-centered, but we're going to put that to a test right now. I'm going to go ahead and screw in my servo center, or my servo arm. We have 3 servo arms here. We have a single-sided, a double-sided, and then what I affectionately call like our little modified thing. It has like a really beefy arm on one side, a shorter arm, and then 2 little nubs. This is the arm that we want to use, which is just a single-sided here. And then I'm going to plug this in. Make sure my ground is on the right side. There we go. And I'm going to plug in and get the power from my ESC. There we go. And now I'm going to hit this little button right here, and I'm going to take it to the center where it says neutral. There we are. So you have 3 modes here. You have auto, which will cycle everything back and forth. You have manual, which allows you to control your servo. And then you have neutral, which puts it right in the middle. The really cool thing about our version 2 servos is they actually have a different number of splines than our original servos, the ES08 and the 9051s, where no matter which way you move it, they're perfectly centered. I forget whether it's odd or even made that possible. But that was one thing we spec'd out that are different. Other than that, They're both the same quality. They're both fantastic. We love them. Depending on which power pack you get from which batch is which style servo you get. But generally, the servo holes are the same. Everything's the same, so you can follow along with all of our builds. We're going to center every single servo we have here, and what we want to have them is all of them opposed, I believe. So that means we're going to go ahead and I'm going to have 2 with the arm this way, and I'm going to do another batch the exact same way for the ailerons. So let's go ahead and just fire through that really quickly, and then we'll install them in the airplane.
Hey, whatever happened to the FT Vegan, sorry.
The Vegan?
The Vegan.
We discontinued the Vegan. A lot of what we affectionately call single surface airplanes, the old Fogey, we ended up bringing back because you guys loved it so much. But the Vegan had a problem where after a while, because the bottom wing was just one single sheet of foam, it kind of got tore up a little bit. And we want our planes to last a little bit longer. We want them to be disposable because you're pushing them to the limits or crashing them, not because maybe they're sitting in the car, at an angle, and then the wings slowly start warping on you. So we did away with the slowest sellers, and the Vegan free planes are out there. You can build them. I just would love to see the planes that we have out there have more of an airfoil to them so they have a longer longevity. When a plane's a single surface, they can warp a little bit easier, and that's kind of a problem. I want them to last longer for you guys.
So here's a question from Richard Joy, same guy that's helping you build there.
Thanks, Richard. You saved my bacon, buddy.
Do the wing servo arms still need to be moved back 1 notch if you're using an Aura 5 Lite?
You can dial in the differential if you want. That's a great question, but I would say, I would still say move them. Otherwise, what you'll need to do is put a rudder mix in it. When I did the Aura mix, I automatically dialed in the rudder, and that's the same way for the Cub and for the Scout. We put a little bit of rudder in there just because they like to fly a little bit more coordinated that way. So you don't have to, but if you go in off of a raw tune, you'll definitely want to do that. I truthfully didn't like the experience with the stock Aura and the Tutor because it was so stable. And Lee, you remember this, you bank it and it's like, I still want to go straight. Like it would almost fight itself because the plane, try it without controls. Put it in the bank, take your hands off the stick and it'll slowly level itself out. And the Aura is not used to that level of stability. So what we had to do is just dial a little bit of rudder mix in. Now, a cool thing you can do is you don't need to dial a rudder mix in with your Aura. If you're, say I want to keep the tune stock, just go into your transmitter and put the mix in your transmitter and you're good to go. So that is one thing you can do either in the Aura or the transmitter. But if you want to have it where all that tune stays with it, you have to do the Aura.
All right. In the Aura, hey, there's another plug. The Aura, we've got a pretty sweet deal with that because we've got the Aura board. That's not discounted, but you get the satellite receiver with it for free.
Correct.
Which is like a $17 value or something like that.
17 because they're $16.99.
Yeah, that's a great deal right there.
And Richard, I owe you again, brother, because I forgot that we talked about angling those forward a step. So I think you just saved my bacon again.
Richard he's got his eye out for you.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know what this guy, Jaden Rigsecker, is asking. Has Josh designed any planes? A few.
Couple. More than one, less than 100.
More than one, less than 100.
Well, with the...
Well, you probably...
technically, with the
Actually,
show...
If you count the show, it's
Yeah.
over 200.
Yeah.
I think my dad and I counted before my dad passed away, us building together, and this won't be a big number to anyone that's really in the hobby, but I think personally I probably built over 200 airplanes. The majority of them were for him. There used to be a thing where I would want to build an airplane, and we used to sell one of my airplanes at Aerotech Hobbies, and then I'd take the money and I'd pick up my next one, and he would find out when it sold and pick it up and always tell me to go out and get the groceries, and I'd go there and the kit would be there and I'd freak out, and he'd say, before you build that, I need this built, and I would stay up all night and wouldn't sleep and would build it for him. And I remember getting really cranky about that, and now to go back and have that memory of getting to be like, here's your plane, Dad, I would do anything for that. All right, I gotta make sure that I have this going the right direction now, so forgive me for a second. So those are going to be mounted.
All right, so while he's doing that, Matt Ingram, we get it. You want Christmas tree ornaments. We've seen your post a few times now. Yes. It's funny you should even say that because Noah was just talking about that before we started the live feed here, this live stream. So maybe look for it next year. Definitely not. It's not it's not going to happen this year, but maybe next year.
I like that. We could have a lot of fun with the laser and do that.
Oh, the laser would be awesome for that.
There's that, and there's that. Okay. So it looks like I'm doing something really evil here. Do we have this on the right camera here?
Which one?
Go ahead and do the top down. Richard, tell me if this is about what I had in the build video. I'm pretty sure it is. These servos are going to be pointing way forward towards the leading edge when they go into the wing like this. And the reason is when this travels to lift the aileron up, it's going to give it much more throw and make the aileron go farther up than it goes down. I believe what they call this is aileron differential, and I believe what this is actually called is mechanical differential. So we're not having to do any kind of special tunes, wiring in 2 separate servos. We're just doing it all mechanically. And typically what you do is you go off of this 90 degrees and then you go back to the servo. We didn't need to get that complicated in the whole process and making that happen. This worked just fine to be able to do that. And what it does is whenever your aileron drops on a wing, it causes more drag and it causes the nose to go in the opposite direction of the bank. And that's called adverse yaw. We're trying to affect or take away as much of that adverse yaw to make the plane truly fly off of just bank and yank or aileron and elevator. What you will find that makes this plane fly really nice is just to put a touch of rudder mix in, and that makes everything wonderful. But this right here does make a huge difference, and I would strongly recommend you do it. Or the other option is just simply dial in a mix, and I think it's dialing roughly 8% aileron, or I'm sorry, 8% rudder to your aileron, and that will give you virtually the same effect.
So this question's popped up a few times. What happened to Alex?
Alex, oh my gosh, Alex is doing wonderful things. Let's talk about Alex and Austin both. 2 dear friends, still friends to this day, Alex and Austin. Last year, I think January, both of them accepted different positions based on their dream jobs and their end goals. Alex is now working for Google Wing. If you guys ever want to see what he's up to, I believe there's a YouTube channel that he is editing for, and you can catch up with him. But you know, the wonderful thing about Flight Test is people don't have to stay. We're just happy to celebrate them while they come through the doors. And he was offered a position at Google Wing, and he is working really hard to do that. My good friend Austin, he's actually working in a marketing firm and working with the whole team of marketing agents. And that's where he is now too. So if you guys ever want to see them, they oftentimes pop by at Flight Fest. Make sure you say hi to them. They still come around. I'm going to save these guys right here. Okay. Well, our servos are pretty much centered. Let me just check these 2 here, make sure there's no surprises. And by the way, if you guys haven't been following Peter, Peter's been doing a lot of collaborations with us lately, but also he just recently learned how to paramotor from our friends at One Up Adventures. And I just saw a preview. He not only made a 50 motor paramotor, but he's now, I believe, traveling with the One Up Adventure guys. I think he was in Costa Rica paragliding. So Peter, great job, man. I can't wait to fly with you again. He's just a great friend and a great individual if you guys ever get to meet him personally. All right, all of our servos are centered and our motor's running in the right direction. I'll put that there. Let's go ahead and put some servos in. Are we doing okay? Everyone doing okay? I cracked my back.
I got a crick in my neck, but hey, now they're asking about Josh Scott.
I love Josh Scott. So check out Memoirs of World War II. Memoirs of World War II. Josh Scott's passion is not just doing amazing things for the ministry, but also for capturing the stories of amazing people who served in World War II. So he has a channel, Memoirs of World War II, where he interviews these treasures and gets their wisdom, their stories, and he puts it to a high production value, a documentary style of their personal story. So a lot of people learn about battles and different aspects of war. This is if these people were your grandparents sharing their stories, but then also put the history to put it all together. He travels all over the country, serving these military individuals. His wonderful wife, Heather, and his kids travel with him. Josh, to this day, is one of the most inspirational individuals in my life with a heart of gold, and his whole family is just a testimony to that as well, too. I can't speak high enough from him. So will he be on the show? I wouldn't count on him being on the show too often, just because he's traveling all over the place. But are we still good friends and keep in touch? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I need to get a servo extension on this. Anytime you put your servo extensions on, make sure you match up your signal and your grounds together. The power is right in the middle. You won't blow up anything if you hook it up wrong, but it just simply won't work. So, and I also like to always tape these as well too.
We got a question about, well, actually a statement about having a distributor in Canada.
Yeah.
James says that he wishes that we had a distributor in Canada.
We do. It's Great Hobbies. Yeah, Great Hobbies is distributing our products in Canada. They don't have our Master Series line. That can only come from our store. That's John's line. But you can get all of our other planes, including, I believe, the Widgeon, and possibly even the Freedom Fox V2 when we get those in. So, yeah, check out Great Hobbies. They have, I think, not only do they distribute, but they do 5 hobby shops across Canada, which I know is a very big spread, but they're there.
I'm not sure exactly what this one was about, but all right.
That's what happens when we hit hour 3.
Somebody wake up Noah.
There we go.
Wow. That's what 3 weeks of marriage does.
Yikes.
Nights of editing.
That's true. Do people know that Noah is like our one-man show? Noah does all of our edits for Tech Channel, for FTCA, and for our main channel. Isn't that nuts? We used to have 3 people doing that.
Definitely a blessing.
You're awesome. And then my son Michael does the majority of the Chase Quad, along with Wesley. It really is. It is definitely a family business. Wouldn't have it any other way. Okay. Boy, I hope I can do this in favor of the camera here. Let's go ahead and grab our control horns. One thing I did not do is I did not glue these in. I want all this stuff left loose until we get it all dialed in perfectly. And that way, you have a little bit of wiggle room both on your control horn side, but preferably do the wiggling and the adjusting on your servo side. You have roughly 1/8 of an inch. You can force it one way or the other. And typically, you won't need to use your linkage stoppers. All right, I'm going to grab one of my push rods here. And we're not going to go all the way out on the hole. We're going to go to the second hole. A lot of people think more control is better. That's not the case at all. You only need about 12 degrees deflection on here. A little bit of twisting is all you need to get through that. There we go. And these new plastic control horns are fantastic because they have the original key that lines them up perfectly, but then they have the keeper. The important thing is you still want to glue these in and not just rely on that keeper. The keeper is really just to spread the load so it pulls on both sides as it moves and never wiggles loose. All right. And for this hole, I'm going to go all the way out. My servo is centered, and all I simply need to do is mark it with my fingernail where I want it. So I'm going to hold this perfectly straight, mark with my fingernail, lift it up, bend it down. Once I bend it down 90 degrees, I can grip it about 2 or 3 millimeters in, and then I'm going to bend it away from the fuselage. Yeah, I definitely think a lot in 3 hours next time would probably be a more truthful thing. I hope I didn't upset anybody with that. This is quite a build.
It's a little bit more than anticipated because I thought that honestly, we were talking before that wonder if we're going to have enough build for 2 hours.
We did the airframe, but yeah, I think my mistake swallowed about 20 minutes too.
That's all right, yeah, but...
All right, so that all lines up perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and lock in my control horn first by simply putting a bead of glue right on the tail. I'm going to slide in my control horn. Anytime you put your control horn in, it's really important to make sure that your holes line up directly with your hinge line. That's going to give you even deflection both ways. And then now I can come back with my little keeper. And we'll press that into place. So if you look, we got this all locked in, and I have a very small amount of throw that I can do with my servo. I'm happy with where it is. It's perfectly straight. All I simply need to do is lift this up ever so slightly, put 2 drops of glue right over those little phalanges, and then drop it in. And now I can put all my attention to making sure that this is nice and flat. We're gonna give this about 30 seconds, and then we'll do the same process on the other side. All right. I don't like wasting things, and you can see I have a ton of extra push rod here, so we're just gonna go ahead and bend another Z-bend. And an easy way to do that is to grab it about 1/4 inch, bend it 90 degrees, go down about 3 millimeters, bend it 90 degrees, and then we can grip it and slowly rotate 90 degrees, and there's our perfect Z-bend. Again, we're gonna go to the second hole up. I want this to be a nice gentle trainer. We don't need crazy throws on this. There we go. And we'll grab our plastic control horn. I'm going to set it in place. I'm going to hold my elevator nice and straight. I'm going to mark this with my fingernail. Whenever I mark it with my fingernail, I always go to the one side of the hole opposite of where I'm bending. I can grip it. We'll bend 90 degrees. Noah, thanks for the coffee, bud.
So, are you gonna have, or you have any plans for having any more model-specific profiles for the Aura 5 Lite?
Yeah, you know what's funny? Originally, when we did the Aura, I thought we were going to need a specific model for every single plane. But even, let's see, what are the monsters we had flying? The P-47, the Glamorous Glen, that had an Aura in it. We had all these planes, and the stock tune just worked perfectly. It's very rare that we find where the stock tune isn't 90% good. The exception is actually this Tutor here. I like putting a little bit of rudder mix in, and you know, any planes that are inherently incredibly self-stabilizing, the Aura has a little bit more difficulty because it's not used to that self-righting tendency. So I do like to put a little bit of rudder mix in with those, and a little bit of a special tune for those ones. But yes, the answer is definitely yes. If you go to the configuration tool, what you will see is you'll see a couple of unique ones. You'll see the differential, I'm sorry, the Sparrow, the twin engine Sparrow, which is this crazy twin motor V-tail. That was like our test. You'll also see the Scout. The Scout works for both the simple cub, even the Tutor would work good. You just got to change the orientation. Hi ladies, our wonderful wives are here. How's it going in manufacturing? Is it warming up?
Oh, it is. It's the 67.
67. So we ran out of propane in manufacturing. And Jen, what was the temperature while you guys were working?
Down to 58 one day.
58. So
It was like Scrooge in a Disney Christmas Carol. You gotta warm your hands by the time you go fire.
you are very patient. All right, there we go. And let's do the same process now. Let's lock down our servo. 1, 2, and then press it down in. And then you can move this back and forth if you need to get this perfectly flat, but it's good right as it is. There we go. Let's go ahead and put this aside, Our fuselage is now done. Let's do the wings.
Hey, what's a super chipmunk? You ever heard of that?
Yeah. Matter of fact, the scheme on the on the Meglacy is inspired by the Super Chipmunk. Carl
mean, like
Goldberg
the-
made a kit of those. What's that? Is there plans? Are they asking if there's plans for making them?
Well, no, it's just this guy asked if we'd ever consider building a Super Chipmunk with a 72-inch wingspan.
That's really specific.
Yeah.
That was a very popular pattern plane back in the day. I don't know if I ever saw many 72-inch ones. Okay, first of all, we're going to go ahead and move on. If you're doing a 3-channel, you're done with your servos. You can simply plug your rudder into your aileron port and your elevator into elevator, throttle into throttle, and that will be all you need to do set up. Just make sure if you're doing a 3-channel, you don't plug your rudder into rudder. You need the rudder acting as your aileron or your main directional control. So now that that's done, let's go ahead and move on to our ailerons here. And the first thing we need to do is we need to cut them out. So I'm going to cut along the hinge line, which is an etch mark. And I'm not going to cut all the way through. I'm just going to cut right along that etch mark. I'd recommend using a ruler for this, but I don't want to hover over and block the camera. There we go. And then I'm going to cut down right there. Switch my blade over to my sharp point. Cut all the way through. Now we're going to go 180 degrees, and just like we did with our control surfaces, we're going to cut our hinge line.
It's funny when we got people coming in and going out for whatever reasons. They got to get up and go to work, or mom tells them to go to bed, or whatever. But it's funny because you're seeing the questions are coming up. What are those planes that are sitting on the couch?
Nice.
Yeah.
They are Flirkins. We're going to talk about the Flirkins after the build. By the way, I had to switch my razor blade because I dulled it out, so that's why I switched it over. If you ever get where your foam's balling up on it, that's just because your razor blade is dull. Just switch it out. All right, let me grab a scrap piece of foam. And we'll do a reinforcement hinge. Well, for everyone that came in just recently, hello. We should call these live build marathons.
Jason Bennett just he says, so the Flirkin chat's starting around 11:30.
Ouch.
Ouch.
You know, I think we should do the ME262 next.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that'll be a marathon and a half.
Well, we could just get John down here. He'll build in half an hour.
John is a ridiculously fast builder.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So what I did, I just cut in a little bit so our aileron doesn't rub. And let's go ahead and hook up our servos.
And then Dustin said, and the Shindin's coming up at 12. Oh my goodness. Are we there yet? Yes, we're getting there. I missed the first half. Can you start this over?
I'm waiting for someone to post. I got to go to the bathroom.
I gotta go.
We're going to put our extension on. This is where everything goes off the rails, right?
I think it's already off the rails, buddy.
It's 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my.
There should be a meme, you know, how we look at the beginning of a live build and how we look at the end of a live build. This is awesome, though. Quality time. How many times do you remember the late night builds, building with your friends, and next thing it's 2 in the morning, and one of my favorite memories was building these triplanes with the original flying ministry friends, Eric Monroe, my brother, my dad, a whole group of people. And it was like 3 in the morning by the time we finished these triplanes. And it was cold, and we lived in Sebring, and there were these street lights. Well, we all just test flew them under the street lights, just flying them until we couldn't see them, and we'd turn them back around and land them. Awesome memories. Okay. We're going to fit this down in, press this in, and I moved it. Uh-oh, no worries. We'll just recenter them before we do our linkage. Let's see, get that. So Lee, next time I talk about a live build, you're just going to add like an hour and a half to it.
Yeah, or we're going to split it up into Part 1 and part 2.
Part 1 and part 2.
Yeah. Depends on what it is.
I like the idea of doing airframes, because airframes I think we can keep pretty predictable. I really slowed down on the electronics, unfortunately. There we go. Now it's centered. I'm just going to leave this centered because most likely I'll be bumping into this in a second. We're going to do the same process as we did before. What we want to do is we want to make sure that the aileron's nice and flat. An easy way to do that is just simply hold this down to the best of our abilities. I'm going to grab our push rod. And by the way, I'm still working off the same wire. So technically, you guys will have 3 extra wires if you're building a kit. One thing I like to do to keep it kind of nice and neat is go from the bottom on these ones. I'm going to go to the 3rd hole out on this, right to the middle. Press that down into place. Oop, got to cut my little servo slot here. I'm excited about the Flirkin too. I think I'm just as excited about the Flirkin as I was about the Tutor after seeing it fly.
Oh man, the Flirkin. Somebody just said it looks like a meaner version of the Goblin.
You know what? That's a really good way to say it. There's a couple things like you learn, like with flying wings, they're awesome, but sometimes there's real estate issues, and that's where the Spear kind of came to be. The Goblin is awesome because I think it has a little bit less wing wag like a typical wing would have, and it has good real estate, but it doesn't have great real estate. So how do you take like the Spear, which has this big lunch box of room, and then the look of the Goblin and smash them together? It's that. And triangles are one of the strongest shapes. This thing is basically a bunch of triangles stitched together.
Well, I remember, when we were test flying that out there, it tumbled quite a few times. And
we did some bad things to it. We had a thrust angle issue.
Yeah.
Right from the get-go. So, Lee, you launched me, and it was like, I poured the coal, so it was like, boom, right into the ground. That was a defeating feeling, wasn't it, Lee?
Yeah, well, it was because, we're thinking, all right, first time we got to get this. It's got to at least do something positive.
Yeah.
And then it does that. But it didn't take too much, to adjust it.
No,
which was nice.
We found out within seconds. It's like, okay, let's just reflect for a second. It launched decent, and it had a trajectory until I changed the power setting. In the second throw, I was easier on the throttle, and then suddenly we realized it was thrust angle. And from that point, it was just bending until it got perfect, and that wasn't long at all. David came down with us, and he was just such a treasure to have helping out. Getting electronics in and feedback, and then John was helping, and you were helping. It was awesome. All right. So if you guys can't see, I'm just leaving my servo centering tool plugged in, so it's always centered up. And that way we don't have to worry about accidentally bumping it. That's totally okay. Just be careful because it doesn't have a low voltage cutout, so you can't kill your battery that way.
Fred's asking if you put your DJI unit into Flirkin yet.
So where's my backpack?
It's ready to roll.
Oh, that's afterwards. I can't talk about. Okay, that's afterwards. So the question is,
almost there.
Did I? Yeah, we're one servo away. Noah, do you want to grab me a receiver real quick?
Yeah.
Thanks.
If you go in my office, in that little black, on the windowsill, there should be a black case. There should be one inside there. So Stephen is asking, Stephen Yagello, he says, please explain the quote-unquote real estate reference.
Maybe I hope I'm using it in the right way. When I talk about real estate, imagine you want a plane, you want to put a lot of stuff in there. Real estate is usable space inside. To me, what I'm describing is usable space inside the airplane. it's space that you could do. So if you had a property with lots of real estate, around it, means you have a lot of options, a lot of things. With FPV, which is this is line of sight all day long. It's a fun plane. It's aerobatic. It's maneuverable. But really, also what I wanted is another great FPV platform. You're awesome. Can you get me a bind plug?
In Moose's office,
Thank you, son.
on the desk, is a bind plug.
And then I'll need a transmitter too. While I'm being demanding. So with FPV, a lot of times you'll have a camera system. So you'll have an HD camera. It could be a little run cam. It could be the Instago 360s that we love. It could be a lot of different variations. And then you'll have a board camera that you're flying from. There are some units where you can do both from, which is really awesome as well too. But the more space you have for that, and then also the more space you have for things like maybe a GPS system for return to home or loiter, I wanted to put all that in there. And when I show you this when the build video is done, I want to share with you the vision, around that, because we put a lot of heart in there. There's a lot of talking, wasn't there, Lee?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. What are you crawling on the floor for?
Here, Noah.
That's your husband. Yes, it is.
I don't know if people know this, but Lee, not only are you and I best friends, but your daughter and my son are married.
Yes, they are.
Marriage.
Marriage! If you guys ever want to hear deeper stories about that, if you're new to the build video, we were talking. We unpack all this stuff constantly on our podcast. So check out our podcast, Planes, Plans, and Problems. It's not just about flying in RCs. We talk a lot about that, but we also give a lot of behind the scenes and what's going on in life.
And it's kind of like herding cats.
Oh, it is. It is. We've definitely heard that we don't have a script, do we?
No, what I love is just the unfiltered, the unfiltered banter and talk and everything we have is just nice.
Yeah. Well, there's times that you can't in a video that's already 20 minutes long. You can't share your heart on certain things. Where the podcast, it's an hour long. We can go as long as we want, and we can talk about everything that's on our heart. Believe it or not, there's a lot more on our heart than planes, right?
Oh yeah, I think that we're starting to get some trolls coming in now.
Are we? You can block trolls,
Yeah, Stefan's out there, and that he'll be doing that.
He's de-trollificating. You mean the internet has trolls?
Yeah.
Or are they just people mad because I made a mistake early?
No, I don't know. Dude says, I really don't want to know about the personal lives of anyone on this show. Thank you very much. Well, then you don't need to be on the show because you don't even understand what Flight Test is all about.
Yeah, it's not about the planes.
No, it ain't about the planes at all.
But at the same time, brother, we love you.
Well, yeah,
And
love
without that personal conviction, we wouldn't be who we are. And Flight Test wouldn't be where it is. But they don't have to buy into that. They just got to know that we love them. All right, let's see. We got that. Another Z-bend. So we really gave a lot more push rods than we needed to on this kit. You guys have a stock of push rods after the end of this because we've done all this with one piece. All right, there's one.
Yeah, our faithfuls are speaking out though.
Yeah.
We're a family. That's it. I mean, and speaking to that a little bit, Josh, as you're putting in that, just our desire to have a resurgence of our community and our family values and all that good stuff.
So Flight Test didn't start as a flying conviction around getting people into the hobby. It started with a conviction to get people connected relationally, and the tool was flight. If you talk to any people that have been around from us from the beginning, we've always said, this is our tool. This is your tool. This is what you can use to connect with your kids. This is what you can use to connect and build a new friendship. We don't apologize about it. Our end goal is to build friendships and build relationships with people, give tools to parents to build relationships with their kids. Our personal conviction, unapologetically, is we want to build a relationship and a friendship to share the gospel with you. And we've been like that from day one, and we'll always be like that. We don't expect everyone to buy into that, but we do want people to know that we love them, and also where the source of that love comes from. And that is the way we are, and that's why we are who we are. There's a broken world out there where people have trouble right now, and if you ever look in the news or in the media today, everybody's fighting with everybody. This is something you can do to connect with someone completely opposite with you and build a meaningful relationship. And at the end of the day, that's the only way we're going to influence people in a positive way. We don't have to connect through 70 different points of interest politically, faith-wise. We can connect over silly foam board airplanes and let that relationship go where it may. So you see that in our community better than we could ever explain it verbally, and I absolutely love that. My wife and I were in youth ministry, and we were going to homes where there was just broken homes. The parents didn't care where their kids went. The dads couldn't connect with their kids. The moms couldn't connect with the dads, and it just broke our heart. And the only tool I had was the tool that my dad used on me, which was building together. Lee, we call it shoulder time, don't we?
Shoulder time. Sometimes that's what you need just to break down some barriers so you can build a relationship.
Correct. So our goal at the end of the day is to give people this activity, and it can be used in education, it can be used in relationship building, and if the plane crashes, that's okay, because the plane served its purpose. It was to get a good laugh, it was to have some fun, and if that happened, it's a success. Did that explain good enough, Lee?
It's good, and you know what? I mean, even one of our dear friends here, he just said, love your attitude and thanks for not beating us atheists over the head too much with that gospel stuff. You know, and we're not going to beat anybody over the head. We want to, like you just said, love on you, and you're going to believe what you're going to believe, but
and I'll tell you this,
love you.
I don't care what walk of life you come from, and this goes for our whole team, we're going to hug your neck just as tight as the next person. We're not going to make sure we align in all these different points. You're going to get a hug if you want a hug. You're going to get love, and you're going to get time if that's what you want. So, yeah, you can count on that, brother, and thank you for those kind words. That means a lot. Yeah. We love people, and Lee, you know as well as anything, we're all broken people too.
Ain't that the truth?
And that's what we unpack really well on the podcast too,
yeah?
how broken we are. We don't sugarcoat anything on our failures and our hang-ups and our issues because we all have them. And this is our tool. And for parents out there, this can be your tool to connect with your kid. This can be your tool to encourage your kid, because you will crash, you will fail, and all the great lessons are not happening through the successes. They're happening through the tears and picking up the pieces. That worked for me with my father and I, and it worked for my kids and I, and I'm blessed to have my kids working with me today. So I want that for everybody.
So how close are we there, boss?
I'm gluing my servos in right now.
You're doing a great job.
We're done.
I think that we got the second wind or wave, I should say, second wave of people. Some are the first. Yeah, because we had a big dip and then it kind of spiked.
And it came back. They're like, those people are still at it.
Yeah. So hey, it's all good. Maybe next time what we do is we don't put an end time.
There we go. It's from 7 o'clock to coffee. All right.
Oh, that's funny.
So, our wing is now done. Do we put the receiver in? Oh, you got a bind plug for me. Binding right there. For everyone, thanks for hanging out and doing this with us. This is a pretty long haul.
Yeah, so Jason Kennedy, he must have missed when you explained about the servo, why the servo horns aren't pointing straight out when neutral.
That angle is intentional, Jason. That is so basically when the servos move, it'll make the aileron deflect up more than it will down. And that will keep the adverse yaw at bay. Whenever an aileron drops, it causes more drag. That increased drag on the dropped aileron causes what we call adverse yaw, which means the nose goes the opposite direction of the bank. We're trying to dial that out mechanically, so if someone has a simple radio, they don't have to make a mix to do it. If you ever are flying, though, a good practice is to hold your controls and then just move your aileron and your rudder pretty much parallel to each other, and that's called mixing your controls. It's a really great skill to have.
Who's that creep in the background?
That's my son.
It's my son-in-law.
Just a creepy ginger.
All right, let me go ahead and. I'm just gonna rub this against the table here. If it was the middle of summer, no, never mind. It'd be dark by now still.
Oh yeah, I mean it's 10:15, 20 after 10.
Right now, there's kids getting yelled at for being up.
I would hope not, but we'll just blame it on you.
Yep. There we go. We're gonna take it all the way back to the stop right there.
So, I don't know how you pronounce the mic. I don't know. Anywho, dude says I love the magic of, or I love this without the magic of editing. The true investment of time, front center.
There's definitely investment of time.
Let me just say, editing many build videos, they are longer than you think.
Yeah, we spend 2 days on a build video. Isn't it funny, Noah? I think well, I made mistakes here, but you want to see the build video.
Oh yeah, but no, I think this is great.
All right. So I'm gonna take it off the Legacy. I gotta make a new model. We're gonna bind it here. There we go. All right, I got my bind plug in my receiver. I got my flashing orange light. Whenever you bind the Spectrum, get it at least 4 feet away to bind it properly. And also always make sure that your props are off.
DSMX 22 milliseconds.
Bind complete. There we go. There's the controls, there's rudder, and there's throttle. Perfect. I'm gonna make sure I remove my bind plug. That's a very important thing to do or else it'll enter into bind mode every single time. While I have this open, I'm gonna grab my barbecue skewers. I'm gonna lock in my power pod. It's really important when you do this, make sure your power pod is all the way seated against the bottom of your doublers. There we go. And we're gonna go on one side, go on the other side. Oops. There we go. Pass it through. And then we're going to do the same process on the other side. I just shot that off the table. You heard noises?
No, because this guy's getting stuck around.
What were we saying about people downstairs?
I don't know. It says grab flashlights. I stuck around to see it go.
There we go. And I'm just going to leave this in temporarily. Let's go ahead and grab our Y harness for our power pod, or for our wing. And we'll plug that into the aileron port. There we go. Perfect.
You're getting, I can hear him chanting that they want you to at least do a glide test. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going to go out and catch it.
Can we just post
too
it
cold
tomorrow?
outside.
It is cold. Yeah, I want to talk about Flurkins, not walk in the cold looking for my airplane.
All right.
Brother, I got an idea.
What? What
We
do you
have
do?
the HQ is one of the tallest buildings. We should get some monstrous floods on the roof,
Yeah?
blasting out so we can fly at night from HQ.
Yes, put it on our list of things to do.
Okay. Okay. I know what that means.
So Ronnie B asked, do you have a store at the field or just one online? He lives about an hour and 45 minutes away. Yeah, we do have a store here, a hobby shop, small hobby shop here. We're not just online, so if you ever want to come out, you can definitely check that out.
All right, let's see. Which way is probably this way would be the best for you guys. All right, we're going to go ahead and make sure our controls are going the right direction here. And what we want to do is we're going to go and pull back. Our elevator's going down. We want our elevator to go up, so we'll have to reverse our elevator. When we push our wing to the right, we want our right wing to go up. It's going down, so we got to reverse elevator and aileron now. And our rudder is perfect. So let's go ahead and go into our transmitter. We'll go to reverse, aileron, elevator. And there we go. Huh, my one aileron is dipping a little bit. I'll have to fix that in a second. But all the controls are good. And you can see it doesn't look like a lot of throw, but that's all that you need for training here. A lot of times people get really crazy with their throws. That's something you can always adjust later very easily. Okay, last step is we'll put our balance, or check our balance. And for that, we should have where our battery is just up in the front. We have two little dots on the bottom of our wing. And what we want to see is just a little bit nose down. And that looks perfect. So now we can lock that in with a piece of Velcro. For this, we're using Tattoo 1300 milliamps. You can go all the way up to a 2200 milliamp with no problem. 1300s are really great for keeping it nice and light. If you're going to be flying a Power Pack C, go with something like a 22 and then slide it back further if you want a lot of weight and a lot of energy. If you want to keep it where it flies very floaty, go with a 1300. There we go. That's perfect. And now I can disconnect my battery. And then our last step before we put this is to put our little pod back in. I'm going to trim just a little bit off my hatch here. There we go. Just pull this forward just a little bit. There we go. And now with our hatch firmly down, all we simply need to do is poke a quick hole on both sides. And then I'm going to cut 2 1/2-inch dowels. And glue them in place.
So we have a few guys ask if we're into quads.
Yeah. Am I a professional race quad pilot? No. Can I fly decent? Yeah. Do I love going exploring? Yeah. My favorite quads is the Gremlin line, the Tiny Whoop line, and I like the Versacopters a lot just because they fly for a long time. Michael's a beast. So my youngest son, Michael, he does all the air-to-air chasing along with Wesley, and they both are just amazingly talented. By the way, Lee, we have a sale on our Versacopter Racer.
We do. Actually, it's if you get a free hand, it's sitting right behind you. There is. I mean, that's a killer deal.
Yeah. So where's the camera here?
Right there in front of you. We can hear it. There you go.
There you go. So this is a Versacopter Racer without props. Everything you see here is available in the special bundle we have. Retail, what's the price?
Retail is $239. We have it on sale for $179.
So motors, ESC, camera, VTX, control board, even the Lemon receiver for DSM, DSMX is all in there for that price. So great starter quad. Everything you need, just bind it, build it, and bind it to your Spectrum radio or DSM radio. And that's a Black Friday, or that's a Christmas special only, though.
Yeah.
We're running all of our Christmas specials, or all of our specials through when?
The 15th.
Through the 15th.
Yeah, because that was about the day we were figuring for shipping and everything.
Yeah. All right, it's good. And a little reinforcement. This is the last piece, guys, and we're talking flirkins. I guess I probably should put the prop on. All right. That's it. We are done.
We're done?
We're done. I mean, if I was only just a little bit faster, we'd be flying it, but you know.
No, yeah, a little bit fast. Yeah. It was dark when we started, bro.
That's true. That's true. All right, friends, first of all, thank you so much for sticking with us through this whole entire build process. Thank you for also building with fans and family. This is an awesome experience. We love getting to answer questions and engage with you along with the build project. Our real hope is that this is going to become a pattern that we can do with groups all over the country and even all over the world. So for our next build, let's go ahead and find a way where you guys can build as groups, give us your feedback on what we can do better. I think now we get to talk about the flirkin.
It's flirkin time.
It's flirkin time. First of all, my good friend Lee came up with the name Flirkin. You wanted to name the Tutor Flirkin because you love the name Flirkin.
I just wanted to name a plane the Flirkin.
All right, so this is the Flirkin here, friends. This is basically, the vision behind this is we wanted a plane that had wing tendencies, a ton of real estate, which in my opinion means basically tons of room to put different stuff, whether it's GPS, flight control boards, FPV, HD cameras, things like that. We wanted it to also look really, really cool and spacey, but still have a general personality. These wings are actually the same style wings I designed for the plane called the Benchy. And that was where, you know, I was trying to figure out how to make the Benchy fly, doing some research, learned a lot about forward swept wings, like, okay, this is cool. We had such a great experience and the wings look so cool. I went ahead and saved that wing design to put on this. I wanted a geodesic shape, so basically it'd be incredibly strong. Triangles are really strong. And also I wanted a satisfying fold together feeling. We have a couple things here. Basically, we have an awesome keeper right on the very top, right here. And that allows it just to simply push in. And you can see, as far as real estate goes, you have a position for the upper battery, you have a position for a lower battery, you can put a camera here and a camera here, and then all the space in between. This top here is really close to the center of gravity, and the goal is to make this where you can mount your GPS if you have one. Along with that, you can see the front keeper here. This has like this little round bowl, and what you can't see under here is a wooden piece that allows it to open up and then grab and then bite down. If you take a little barbecue skewer and you pop this down, you hear a little click, and then this piece here pops right out. And what that gives you the ability to do is to have all this area to access for your ESC. This isn't a swappable. This is basically, you screw your motor in, but you can access your motor and unscrew it if you want to swap it from one plane to the other. It uses a swappable firewall, but it's inverted, so you're not going to be able to use the plastic ones that we have. You're going to have to use the wooden ones that will be included with the kit. And this is your budget beam motor turned backwards. So really, really simple.
So is, you made mention earlier about it putting an F-pack on there?
Yeah, we want to test it with an F-pack.
Yeah.
I am 99% positive that this is going to fly fantastic with an F motor on it. It's an incredibly light airframe. I don't think it'll be as fast or punchy. Even with a 9-inch prop on this, this thing has no torque issues. So that's really encouraging. I think with an F motor, this is going to be super light and super nimble, which is really, really cool.
So it'll be able to use either one?
Yeah, either or. So I think from F all the way to C is going to be a pretty safe bet. We do have a version coming later on in the year that we're going to try before we talk about it, but we're going to make sure it's compatible. So even if you build a Flirkin now, if this works, it'll be adaptable to your Flirkin, so you won't have to build another Flirkin. Underneath it, basically, you got this big old hall here. We put lots of venting in here. My good friend Jason was doing the air-to-airs, and we met in the sky in a memorable way, so that's why this is all chewed up. But just a tremendously strong airframe. Everything just kind of locks together really, really nice. It looks complicated to build, but it is not. It just folds together. I promise you, looking at how we did the Tutor, if we build one, it'll either be a two-parter or just bring some coffee with you because we had a lot of fun talking. But incredibly easy to move all your electronics wherever you want it. One thing I'm excited about is we love the Insta360. What is it called? The 360 camera, the long one.
The long one?
Yeah, the one that is the full 360. Insta360, right?
The Insta360 1X, I believe?
Yeah, 1X.
1X2.
Yeah, 1X2.
I believe so.
I want to be able to have a wide variety, so even if you have a super heavy camera, your batteries can go all the way in the back, and that's a very difficult thing with a lot of flying wings. This one will be able to do that. To put it back together, the back plate simply slides forward, and then you slip underneath your finger, pops into place. That locks that one in, and then for the front, that slides on, and I don't know if they can hear the click. It's on there. So,
Any question? Any stall issues?
so no, incredibly gentle with stall. When we tested it, if you use the throws we have, you're going to be able to go full deflection up, no tip stall. It'll just kind of do these little micro stalls as on its way down. The center of gravity is pretty much right between these two throws right here, and that's where it lies. I test flew this with a 2200 4-cell or 2300 Tattoo 4-cell and the budget B motor, but I went down to a 9-inch prop, and that was fantastic. You can see there's lots of louvers on here. One of the goals was to make sure there's as much airflow going through the whole body as possible. So even if you used a DJI system, you could have it inside and the air would be going over. During the release video, we're actually going to be testing all this out during our release to see if there's any issues, and then we're going to tackle those issues right in front of you, good, bad, and ugly. You'll get to follow along with it. But it's incredible. It's a 4-sheet build. Takes probably about 3 hours to build, and it is a ball. I like function and I like form, and this is the first time I've ever gotten to build a 4-swept wing, and I'm kind of addicted now. Any questions with that? I wish we had some footage of it flying.
Yeah, we don't. But is it easy to fly?
Yes. Yeah, hands down. Number one, you can also put an oar in it. So if you're a beginner and you want this to be your first wing, this could be your first wing. I would compare this as far as easy to fly to the Arrow. And anyone that's flown the Arrow knows how incredibly easy it is. I think it actually hand launches easier than the Arrow. The only thing is you don't launch it from underneath here. You can put your hand right in the back louver and launch it hard. I just tell people not to do it because here's your issue. You know what I mean? You can't necessarily get your hand off. Go to 2/3 to 3/4 throttle, 20 degrees up and a gentle toss. It'll pull right out of your hand and fly straight as an arrow right off the bat. So it's incredibly easy to wingtip launch and to do it that way. So
Would you recommend this as somebody's first plane to build and fly?
No, don't. I don't usually tell people to start with wings for their first plane. If you really want to do that, put an Aura in it, use level assist and launch assist, and you'll have no problems. One nice thing is the Aura systems and flight stabilization systems like that kind of get you the ability to follow your passions and not follow a typical roadmap. So if you want this to be your first plane, spend the extra $50, put an Aura in it, and you can make it your first plane. That's fine. When we were out here at Flite at HQ and we're teaching people how to fly, I've taught 7-year-olds how to fly Corsairs. What's your favorite plane is what I ask. We grab that, we put an Aura in it. The only difference is going to be the amount of space it consumes and how fast it goes. So if you want this to be your first plane, put a flight stabilization system on it so you can have that great experience. Take it up, fly it around, learn going forward, backward, all what the controls do, and then go ahead, take it up nice and high, switch it, and off of the level assist, and you'll be able to work with it normally. As far as inverted goes and rolling, it's axial. I really thought this was going to kind of be a good FPV platform where it wouldn't be fully aerobatic, but it locks in inverted with just a breath of forward pressure, and it's good to go.
How many sheets of foam board?
4 sheets of foam. Yeah. Originally, we thought we were going to have it to 3, but I kept adding pieces and parts, and it didn't add.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we kept adding more and more and more into it. So now it is a full 4 sheets of foam. Not a lot of pieces necessarily, but we wanted the fold over tail just to make it a little bit more streamlined. We wanted some extra features inside of it, so we added the extra foam in there.
I think it's about it, boss.
We're good.
Yeah, I think so.
I think people need to go to bed.
I'm hoping that people. I mean, it looks like we got quite a few still on here. So thank you all for joining us. And
Yeah, thank you everybody, and let us know what you'd like to see for the next build. Feedback on this. We really enjoy this time with you. And Lee, Noah, Haley, thank you guys so much. Robert, behind the scenes, thank you. And let's do it again.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, we are out. Thank you, friends.
Thank you.